Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
It's their West Point.
How close is it to the house?
About a mile.
4,221 feet. It's closer to 0.8 of a mile.
Who are you?
I'm the motherfucker that podcasted this place, sir.
You're an idiot is what you are.
I am. That is true. Hello, everybody. My name is Griffin Newman.
Yeah. I'm David Sims.
This is a podcast called Blank Check with Griffin and David. We are hashtag the two friends. We are two friends who do a podcast, and that's a competitive advantage because no one else can say that about their podcast.
Don't you dare deny it.
I won't.
This is a podcast about filmographies, directors who have had massive success early on in their careers and were granted a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they wanted. Sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce. Motherfucker.
Your iPad opened Twitter during your whole spiel. It took that long.
Yep. My iPad is moving slowly.
Seriously.
It's got a real Gandolfini kind of gait to it. It's breathing heavily.
Yeah, your iPod
taking its time getting
opens
there.
Twitter like Gandolfini taking a seat.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm getting the app. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
Very
That's bad.
bad.
I thought
That's
it was
bad.
fantastic.
Brett
I
thank you
thought
so
nailed it.
Hellman does a good Gandolfini. That's the only one I can think. I feel like other people can do Gandolfini.
I feel like I've
heard
someone else.
good Gandolfinis. It's kind of high pitched though. You got to go like it's like Casey Affleck but 300 more pounds. You know what I mean? it's a very specific thing.
Yeah. We've already I made the joke when we did our Interstellar episode, but I still can't get over.
How in Interstellar the boy goes up 5 octaves.
Yeah, there's the
when
cut
he ages.
when you're seeing like the aging
Hey,
videos
Dad. Hey Dad, how you doing? Got a B in chemistry or whatever.
Hey Dad, it's me. I'm 28 now. I'm Casey. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, Fireman's hard. It's like crazy.
He's not coming back, Murph.
Murph, he's not coming back.
He's not coming back. And also, that Topher Grace isn't in it at all. I think
He's in it.
I always remember that he's in it because it struck out to me so much in the movie that he was in it for such a little time that I was like, just don't have him.
And I believe there's no actual like introduction. She's just sort of walking down a hallway, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I got this file for you," or whatever.
Well,
and you're like, "It's Topher Grace." Did he
Jessica-
just like wander
yeah,
on set?
yes.
I saw you guys talking about Interstellar the other day on Twitter, and I decided to check out the trailer again because I was like, I think I need to revisit this movie because I undervalued it the first time around. But in watching the trailer, I was like, is that David? Well, I saw Topher Grace, but then I was like, is that David Oyelowo?
Yeah.
too?
David Oyelowo,
Yeah.
man, he's got one
Stacked
scene.
cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a high school principal in the apocalypse.
He is indeed.
very concerned about textbooks.
Matthew McConaughey has a whole like joke about his ass that he delivers, where he's like, "It takes 2 numbers to measure your ass,
Right.
and only 1 to measure my son." It's like this very Christopher Nolan complicated joke.
Which was actually that was pre-roll. When they were blocking, he just started describing David
McConaughey's
Oyelowo's
just like,
ass.
"I'm going to come right at this guy."
No, I was going to say, are you ready? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not interrupting your joke.
No, it wasn't. I'm just kind of glad you did because I started doing a McConaughey and then I was like,
Oh,
nah,
can
I
you do
can't.
it?
I was just gonna be like, no, and I got a great joke about a yellow's ass if you want to roll on this one. But that's not.
It's not bad. It was relaxed.
It's pretty good.
It was very real. That's the
I think
problem.
that's the key to a good high.
The only
Yeah.
thing I can do is I can say MRI.
Which you kill it. And then
MRI.
my wife's MRI.
They had a machine called an MRI.
Every Nolan movie has a thing about like someone's wife. dying. He's
It's
gotta-
true. There's a lot of dead
It is
women.
Very true. Well, how's this for smooth transition? Why was Topher Grace in Interstellar? Because Jessica Chastain read the script and she said, if I'm kissing someone on screen, it's got to be Topher Grace.
Give me that venom, baby.
Or I quit. And Jessica Chastain is the star of the movie that we're discussing today.
The
That's right.
movie.
What's movie? That was Gandolfini's
I was
back.
gonna say, but that's my Gandolfini.
Movie. This is a miniseries about the films of Catherine Bigelow.
That's right.
And it is called
Oh, that's why you were loading Twitter.
Pod 19, The Widowcaster.
Damn right it is.
Ooh.
Now, at the time you listen to this episode, we will be almost near the end of our miniseries.
That's true.
But we are recording this as the first episode of our miniseries.
Yeah.
The results are just in on our incredible miniseries name poll.
It was between that and what was it? What was the other option?
Zero Podcasty,
Yeah. I
Zero
mean, that's fine.
podcasty.
which is the film that we're talking about today. Now, the reason we're doing this
Wait,
episode
no one
first-
said point cast?
We like to have pod and cast on the
Okay.
title.
Okay.
Because it's a podcast.
Well, what about podcast? You have to say it out loud.
A lot of people suggested instead of the Hurt Locker, the podcaster.
Yeah.
Our fans are very creative and original.
Podtroid
Yeah,
cast.
they're good.
Yeah, that'd really land smooth.
I think so.
Welcome to Podroidcast.
We have a great guest today who's already landed like 5 great jokes, which is what we love. We love it when our guests talk before we introduce them.
But
We
I
do.
said 7 jokes.
and he landed 5 great ones.
He has been marking them off under the table.
There's notches.
This table is destroyed now.
I'm interrupting my own introduction.
No,
Sorry.
but we see sometimes we talk for a while and our guest is sitting there silently and we kind of go like,
No, come on.
We like to get him in there.
You don't have to
Yeah.
do that with me. I'm here to interrupt.
You're pro. You're pro because you're a podcaster yourself.
That is true.
Host of Gilmore Guys,
Correct.
TV writer,
Yes.
written for At Midnight in the Good Place.
Mhm.
Where are you
Well, I
writing
didn't
right now?
write for At Midnight,
Okay,
but I
worked on
worked
At
on At
Midnight.
Midnight.
And then is there a project you can say that you're working on right now?
The thing is,
Secret
I
TV
just
project.
finished
Secret
working
stuff,
on
secret
a TV show, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Great.
Which sounds like such
Now.
bullshit. Now, that's true. In the future, maybe I will be allowed to say at least that it was a show on Freeform. That means nothing to a lot of people.
ABC
Okay,
Family.
Okay.
Formerly ABC Family,
Yeah.
currently a different name.
Now what if
Sorry, I don't mean to bring up the ghost of ABC Family. It's
How
just-
dare you?
Yes.
what
We're
if by
all
the time
haunted
this
by
podcast comes out, Freeform has changed their name again?
Well, then no one will know what I'm talking about. And that's fine.
Because it was originally Fox Family.
It was Fox Family.
And
That
then
was
it
what
became
had Freaks and
ABC
Geeks.
Family. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it was
Uh,
ABC Family. I used to watch a show on ABC Family. That's all I got for you.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
That was it.
Demi Adejuyigbe is here.
Hello.
Did I
You
pronounce it?
did. Everyone is always concerned about saying my last name wrong, but then most people get it right.
Hey. You
It
did a
is
great
pretty
job.
phonetic.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those names where you second guess yourself.
Sure.
People get in their head.
And
Lot
you're
of
Griffin
letters.
Newman.
I'm Griffin Newman, which you'd be surprised how often people mess up my name.
Really? People spell
Yeah.
Griffin wrong. They give you an E there. I've seen that a
And
lot.
people call me Griffith a lot.
It's weird.
Weird.
Yeah, that's a weird move.
That's
A
less.
lot.
That's not a name.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I start a new job, I have to spend the first 5 days correcting people.
You ever just like I'm gonna go by Griff?
I try to. I seriously try to avoid that, and people still think I got this. Hold on one second. Griffith, walking the set. Because you're like hearing, it's like PAs who are like walking, and they keep on saying your name over and over again. I just want to be like,
Griffith, new boy.
yeah,
He is a brand new boy.
I'm a new boy.
Look at his shining face.
Yeah, I haven't shaved for weeks. I look
Yeah,
like
you look like trash.
I look like a homeless computer hacker. I look
That
maybe
is-
more rundown than I've looked in years.
Did you say that on stage? Because that's the kind of self-deprecating stand-up joke that I would see at an open mic.
Yes,
I look like
yes,
a homeless
yes.
computer
that's,
hacker.
That's one of my. I don't want to brag, but that joke has gotten upwards of 3 laughs at an open
That's a
mic.
closer. That's the one that you mime yourself
Yeah.
hitting a home run
Right.
to.
Mhm.
Right, because most comedians, the hack thing is you get up and you start out by going like, I know what you're thinking. This guy looks like, and you do that bit right up at
Right.
the top. But I go, you got to close with that. You start out with hard-hitting political material, and then I go, and I know what you thought. This guy looks
whole
like a
time.
homeless computer hacker. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm Griffith
Because
Newboy.
if you predict their mindset for the last 5 minutes, it's like a magic trick. They're like, "Whoa, that was what I thought," and they
Right.
have to clap.
Hey, can I pitch a tag
Please.
for you?
Please.
So you're wearing a hat.
I am wearing a hat.
After you do that joke, then what you reveal is you've been wearing 2 hats the whole time. There's
Ooh.
a smaller
Yeah,
hat
that's real
underneath
Mr.
the
Robot
other
shit.
hat.
I love
So
it.
Yeah.
you can
And it's
take
also
that.
hat in a hat. You know?
Hat on a hat.
It's a
One of
great term.
Griffin's favorite phrases.
I use it all the time.
Like a pun on Cat in the Hat, or just
It's like joke on a joke.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're overwriting a hat in a hat.
Right.
But it also works as like a cat in the hat kind of thing.
thing is, what's the second hat? I think the second hat should be something that's just like you've been griffed on it, and then you reveal it, and people are just like, "Whoa, okay, I've been griffed."
Oh God.
Can I go like total sidebar? I know where
Can you go further?
Wait, was this main podcast?
Yeah, right.
I'm going further
Are you?
afield. Rick Baker was
makeup
hired,
artist.
right? Was hired to do the makeup for Cat in the Hat, and they fired him like 6 weeks before production
A
because
Bo Welch film.
right, they said his design was too disturbing.
Haven't we talked about this?
And then
Maybe just off. mic.
Wait, so the thing they went with was the less disturbing option,
Which is so upsetting. The design
Yeah.
in the movie is so upsetting.
Very weird
A, looks
movie.
nothing like the Seuss drawings,
no,
and B, is really fucking creepy.
yeah,
And I like, at least twice a year, I go, fuck, let me give it another shot. And I go onto Google and see if anyone's leaked out images of the Rick Baker design. Because those things will come out where it's like, oh, here's Nicolas Cage's Superman costume.
Yeah,
12 years later, it's on the internet.
But it's never...
I wish I could see fucking Rick Baker's Cat in the Hat design.
We got to wait for Mike Myers to become like a serious actor, and then all of that shit.
Right.
Yeah, so the Gong Show has to go for 4 more years, and then he's finally going to start his comeback. I mean, what's Mikey up to?
I think we got to get Fincher on Love Guru 2. Give it the spin that it needs to take the franchise seriously, and have people go like, yeah, all right.
But this
I'm in.
This is the
Like,
shame.
yeah.
Paramount went to Fincher, and they said, look, we got all these franchises
They
that
gave
we
him
built
a big 2,
so
right?
perfectly.
Just like, and they were like, just stick it next to whatever title you like.
want one.
Yeah, they said Monster Trucks 2 meet Creech again.
Remake Creech.
Creech is just hanging out.
I tried to watch
A
Monster
Creech family
Trucks
Christmas.
on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
and
You were finally ready to meet Creech.
I was finally ready. I've had a very emotionally and psychologically taxing year, right? I've had a year that demanded a lot of me, and I just kept on going, I don't know if I'm ready to meet Creech. It's the same thing where, like, I'm not ready to watch Handmaid's Tale because I just feel psychologically fragile.
Totally good comparison.
And I'm not ready to meet Creech.
Yeah,
because
Monster Truck,
he's a lot of
Handmaid's Tale.
monster.
Yeah.
And he's a lot of truck, right?
Mhm.
Well, women are the Creech of Handmaid's Tale,
Absolutely.
which is a great phrase now that I'm going to get tattooed on my
Right.
forehead.
Or you could say that Creech is the women of Monster Trucks.
I think you should do it on both palms. So it should be women are the Creech of the Handmaid's Tale. Like it
So,
could be a 1-2.
If I'm ever feeling like, well, I don't want to freak people out, I can just hold up the Handmaid's Tale.
I agree. Yes, very good.
Keep the women are the Creech of behind my back.
I tried to watch it, and I was just so bored.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just kind of whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I was ready for it to be really bizarre.
Right.
Isn't it essentially like it's just an alien comes and lives in a monster truck, but they call the movie Monster Trucks?
Yeah.
He lives in a pickup truck that then becomes a monster truck.
Yeah.
Because he's a
Havoc
monster. And
owns it.
it's. I feel like they should have just called it Meet Creech.
They should have called it Meet
Sure,
Creech.
called it me. I think it was just there was this one gif of him sliding out of the truck and like into Havoc's arms and sort of enveloping him. And people were like, wait, is this movie like a weird monster sex like squid movie? Is that what this
If
is?
so, you got to be upfront with that.
Yeah,
You can't spend
exactly.
$100 million on subtlety.
Yeah, you gotta say January 17th, fuck Creech. That's gotta be your tagline.
That was the movie that Paramount took like $150 million bath on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like 3 months before it came out, they
Before
were
it
like,
came
we're
out, they
taking
were
a
like-
$150 million write down on a mystery movie. And it came out like 3 years after it was shot because much like the Rick Baker Cat in the Hat, they screened it and kids were terrified by the design of Creech.
Oh,
and they
God.
had to start over and reanimate
And that's what
all the
happened.
That's
monster
so
shit.
dumb. I feel like if kids are terrified by the design of Screech, then just like reshoot.
That was the problem. They had Dustin Diamond. The
Did I say-
first draft was Dustin Diamond is in the truck.
Well, I don't understand. I understand why that's a little freaky. Because kids, they all saw the tape,
Right.
But I mean, they
He
didn't
was
put him
Dirty
in the truck.
Sanchez
They
in the
just
truck.
opened the truck and he was there. He was living in it.
and they were like, and they're like, all right, we got to cut that one scene, and it's going to cost us $100 million. Diamond's contract is foolproof.
Isn't Diamond in jail now for stabbing a guy?
Yeah.
He definitely attacked someone. Is he in jail?
Well, I saw
I'm Googling.
a tape where he daggered someone. I'm sorry.
No, it had to. I mean, I was wondering
10
who was
comedy
going to
points.
go there.
10 comedy points, yeah. No, Monster Trucks is just kind of
he's in-
boring.
He's out of jail now.
it's
oh no,
weirdly-
he's back in jail.
Oh, he's
he
back in jail,
violated
okay.
his probation.
Great.
Sorry, it was a
Oh,
roller
he
coaster. His
OJ'd it.
Wikipedia page.
It's weirdly like an environmental parable because
Sure.
it's about they find Creech when they're drilling for oil, they're fracking, and then they find Creech.
Okay, so you're saying they do kind of fuck Creech?
They do.
They at least frack him.
Wait, so they were like, we want to really make sure this appeals to the kids, but we are going to introduce it with a plotline about fracking.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Ruffalo is a producer, and that's in his contract. He's like, there's got to be an anti-fracking thing in this one.
And they were like, all right, man.
All right.
This is a podcast about Zero Dark 30, obviously.
Sure.
The movie Zero Dark 30, a film about the assassination of Osama bin Laden.
Also known as Meet Osama.
That was the tagline on January 15th.
Get
Meet
ready.
Osama.
Great. We're professionals.
Yeah, but this isn't the kind of movie that, is like serious or anything, like digs into any kind of weighty issues.
No, it's a romp.
Yeah,
I would
it's a
call
real
this
romp.
movie
I
a
think
romp.
so.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour, 37-minute romp.
Right, and that's why John McCain protested this movie, because he
Right.
said, too frivolous.
Wait, did he really protest
Too much
this
fun.
He
movie?
said
Yes,
that
he
it was evil.
a bunch of the U.S. Senate got together and protested this movie, along with several liberal members of the Academy, like Ed Asner and Martin Sheen.
We're going to dig way into that,
Man,
all that shit, man.
I feel weird where I feel like I'm on a sort of similar ground as John McCain.
Johnny M.
Wow.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. This is like Catherine Bigelow's most traditional blank check movie, even though Strange Days fits into the blank check template.
Yeah.
But this is the movie where she's won Best Picture.
Well, right. She has the blank check. That's what you're saying. And she's like, I'm going to do a movie about us not killing bin Laden. And then she's ready to go. And then she's like, actually, sorry, let me get that back. I'm going to do a movie about how we kill bin Laden because we just killed him. But
they had announced it. Her and Mark Bowl were like, here's our thing. Anna Perner acquired it.
And that all happened like shortly after.
They started casting it, and then like 6 weeks after the movie was announced, we got Bin Laden.
Wait, so that wasn't oh, wow.
I'm not joking.
Truly.
I truly thought it was like when they killed Bin Laden, they like fast-tracked the movie into production.
Which they did.
But they rewrote
their whole movie.
Wow.
Because they were going to do this movie about how we almost got him in Tora Bora, like right at the start of the Afghanistan War. It was going to be like
the Zodiac of looking for Osama bin Laden.
Fuck,
and John Carroll Lynch was going to play him.
Yes.
He was going to play Bin Laden?
Yeah.
Well, probably Bin Laden, but it's a little unclear at the end.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, someone sees him in an airport bathroom and is like...
He's got the same watch as Bin Laden.
Right.
That is a movie I think I would enjoy a little bit more.
Zodiac?
No. Yes, just Zodiac.
The movie about not getting Bin Laden.
Yeah.
Rather than the movie about how we shot him. But hey, look, they did have the problem of, they're going to make this movie. They're ready to go on this movie. Now they can't make the movie.
Right.
And Mark Bowl is like, look, I'll just rewrite 95% of it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. We'll make Zero Dark 30 instead.
And he, according to IMDb trivia, did not get any additional compensation for rewriting the script, even though he essentially
wrote a whole new
start over from scratch. Rooney Mara was originally announced as playing the Jessica Chastain role, which I think was originally not the main character.
Sure.
It was sort of a character in an ensemble.
Right.
And Joel Edgerton was going to play the Jason Clarke character.
Yes, that I knew. They swapped them.
That seems pretty interchangeable because those two guys look too similar.
They look weirdly similar.
Yeah, I don't think you should have them in the same movie.
It's almost weird when Edgerton shows up and doesn't do much.
It's also very weird because apparently he dropped out because he had a scheduling issue, but then he could take the smaller role.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But they're both craggy rock men.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They both got mountain faces.
Yeah, they both got big old foreheads you could like plant a camp on
They
or
both
whatever.
probably played orcs in something.
Edgerton Ray is going to be an orc cop.
Right.
Yeah.
A twisted orc cop. Twisted.
That will have come out by the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty sure that Bright is a Christmas release, which
Yeah.
seems weird, just the idea of people being like, come on, gather around the couch and let's hang with Will Smith and orcs.
But that
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Let's not ever talk about
that
it.
looks
again.
like a cross-generational movie, though. That's a
It
fourth
really
quadrant, populist.
You got the grandmothers who love Will Smith. You got the kids who love Will Smith. You got the parents who love Will Smith.
You got the weird guys on Twitter who love Max Landis.
Yeah.
It's just that's like 1% of Netflix's pie chart.
And they're like, we need to get that pie.
I'm up to my knees with those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I do.
Ben, crash the podcast.
Unfortunately, crash the podcast. Crash the podcast. The podcast is collapsing.
Well, here's my prediction for December. Bright is not going to be good, and I'm going to be bummed about it.
It's on the record.
Yeah.
I love how David Ayer, when he was like promoting Suicide Squad, was like, fuck Marvel and their baby shit. This is the real shit. DC. And then now that he's promoting Bright, he's like, fuck DC and their baby shit. This is the real shit. R-rated Netflix orc movies.
He's just going to be like on Crackle next. Like, just be like hardcore porn starring himself.
It's like, fuck Netflix, man.
But he was like this like gritty LA cop drama guy who now is getting into like fantasy genre stuff. It keeps on going like, but not like that dumb shit that dorks like.
And he just, everything he does, he's like, all right, but it's cops too, right? It's like, we want you to direct a fantasy movie, but cops?
Can it be about the LAPD though?
Yeah.
Like, Michael Payne is in it.
Come on, he owes me a favor. He'll do anything.
All right.
So this is a podcast about the movie Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30.
Directed by David Ayer.
Directed by David Ayer. Oh, I'm glad he didn't direct this one.
It would just be like, he'd just be like, all right, what if Osama was Hispanic?
and had a gold AK. Remember that gold? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Was that in
End of Watch?
Oh,
End of Watch.
all right.
The watch ended. Then I don't know. Griffin, get me out of this. Stop just looking at me like that.
End of Watch. I wish I never saw the beginning of Watch.
Okay, that's a good one. That is a very good one. Thank you, Devin.
All right.
Beginning of The Watch. Different movie.
Yes.
Also
Oh.
didn't like.
No, let's not talk about that one.
All right.
No, I mean, we can. But
Zero Dark 30.
Do you think it would be a better movie if you watched the first half of The Watch and then watched the
End
end
of
of
Watch.
End of Watch?
Maybe, but you just be like, oh, Richard Ayoade is Jake Gyllenhaal now.
That's like the worst rep programming ever. Like, someone gives me a weekend at the Metrograph, and I'm like, all right, guys, think about it. You gotta stay. We're just back to back.
The series is called Davies Mix-Ups. It's the little Davy Sims.
It's
Oh,
like
boy.
you're a DJ for movies. It's like, this one doesn't go into this one, but we're changing the mood.
Listen though, the watch. Get it?
Just crossfading between the movies.
Live by Knights of Rodanthe.
This is just, yeah.
This is great. It's great. I don't want to talk about Abu Faraj al-Libi either. I just
Should
read
we-
that name off my computer.
Should we just
screen.
make more mix-em-ups? Like I Robots?
Oh, I get it.
Thank you.
So, like the little Ewan McGregor Tinker Toy Man,
Yeah.
he's the one who's like trying to kill everyone. He's like ripping people's faces off.
I think you're talking about With Nail and iRobots, right?
Oh,
Which is
right.
when
Wow,
the
it's
Ewan
3
McGregor
movies.
robot is drinking with Richard E. Grant. Will
Uh-huh.
Smith is trying to catch both of them.
As he should. They need to be brought to justice.
Scoundrels.
Remember iRobot? Remember those converses?
Well, he did not murder him.
I did not murder him. That's what
He
says.
did, though, right?
He did.
I think so,
He
yeah.
hardcore did. He
Which
hardcore did.
seems like I hate that. Just because when they mark the movies like I did not murder him, I'm going into it be like, ooh, I want to see that. I want you to prove that he
prove
didn't.
it.
Will
He's cool. I like
He's
this
good.
guy.
I like this guy. He's
Yeah.
3D.
He's 3D. He's all white.
It's 2004. This is the future.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Show me it's good.
That's a good movie. That's an underrated movie.
iRobot. We should do Proyas.
Yeah.
I just watched The Crow, which I had never
He did
seen.
Dark City too.
Yeah, Dark
Yeah.
City, which is like a major influence on like a lot of better movies.
It sucks that came out like just before The Matrix.
I know.
He also made Gods of Egypt.
He did, which is
Oh.
this is quite a movie.
Was that? Did he make something between that
He made
and iRobot?
Knowing, where Nicolas Cage
whoa.
predicts the apocalypse
That,
because his
that's a
son
fun
is good at math.
filmography.
And there's another. Isn't there another one in there?
He made what's it called? Garage Days. He made that like Australian indie movie about
Yeah.
the rock band.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking of, but you're right. Yeah, that's it. That's his whole thing. Yeah, weird.
Weird.
The Crow's wild. Have you seen The Crow?
Yeah, it's a wild movie.
Zero Dark 30 is pretty wild.
Yeah, right. So this is a podcast about the movie Zero Dark 30. We're clearly excited to talk about it.
It's just a. Yeah, I don't know.
I really like this movie. It's hard to talk about, and here's a big thought I want to throw out right up top.
Mhm.
Right up top, 40 minutes into this episode. Now that we're finally trying to talk about
Ben
this
just
movie.
nodded sadly.
Right?
Yep.
Zero Dark 40.
Yes. So there was this weird like I feel like all of America collectively, regardless of where you stood politically, we all in the wake of 9/11 were like, we got to catch this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Sure, there was that brief moment of national unity.
Right.
We all held
It-
hands in kumbaya around.
Exactly.
Right.
9/12, the 9/12 spirit. We all
Right.
remember so well.
Right. But I think even like 10 years later, people were like, fuck, it just feels unfulfilled. Like this feels like
It was like on
narratively
America's
unfulfilled.
to-do list.
Yeah.
And we
Right.
it was just sitting at the top there.
And it was this like massive thing. She starts developing this movie about like how
About that.
close we came, and it was
Right.
going to be about, I assume, more the frustration of not being able to pin him down. And then they catch him, they rewrite the whole movie, and they make this movie that feels weirdly cathartic when it comes out. It's not an oorah movie, but it's a movie about that frustration, that struggle to get there. And everyone could kind of map onto themselves like, right, it was weird for like a decade when we were just living with knowing that this guy was out there.
Yeah.
And the movie, to its credit, doesn't do a lot of like
Well, that's her
pre-roll
thing.
table setting,
Sure. Yeah.
right? But I was watching this and thinking to myself, like, will this movie mean anything to like
Like my kid, whatever. Or
Right.
someone a
Right.
decade from now. Whatever.
if you don't have the table setting of like we all were kind of weirdly invested in this thing?
Do you guys remember where you were when they announced that?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Vividly.
Yeah.
I was just at home, but I just remember the like half hour on Twitter where no one in the world knew what the fuck was going on for like
Remember
half an
how
hour.
The Rock revealed it?
Yes. Which was, how did he know it again?
He had like a cousin that was a Navy SEAL.
Yes,
Just imagine,
that's it.
Imagine being on SEAL Team 6 and be like, holy shit.
I gotta tell someone.
I gotta call Dwayne, man. I gotta fucking text Dwayne. He's gonna be, oh, no, let's tell Obama.
Yeah. But also he tweeted like, you guys might want to watch the TV tonight. Gonna be some real big news.
He's like, just got some news. Like, boom, we got him. Home of, like, land of the free or something. And everyone's like, what?
Right.
Oh my God.
That was really strange. The other thing that was amazing was that was when Obama was just like fucking dragging Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Which doomed us.
Right. It was the day before was the Seth Meyers White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Right.
It really feels like that day a door opened and another door closed.
Correct.
That's right.
And in the moment, it was so
And
satisfying.
he did like 20 minutes on Trump.
And killed.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
yeah, sure.
Like a
Yeah,
really tight set of Trump stuff. And they kept on kind of Trump, like clearly not getting the joke and wondering why everyone was laughing
Right,
at
sitting
him.
like tersely and I
Right.
remember that.
And that's Saturday.
That's Saturday.
And then on Sunday night, it's the finale of the Celebrity Apprentice.
Huh.
And there was this like tweet at,
don't remember that.
at 6 or 7 o'clock from The Rock. And everyone's like, oh shit, did they catch Bin Laden?
Yeah.
They're going to like preempt the news. So my roommate, Sophie, and I were watching TV, like waiting for the programming to get interrupted.
Yeah.
And then there was like a White House tweet that was like, Obama's press conference will not start until 9:40. Like it got pushed back from when they thought it was going to happen. And the time it got pushed back to directly overlapped with the last 10 minutes of the finale of Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh my God.
Which felt like him just being like, fuck
So
you.
if we didn't kill Osama bin Laden,
Donald Trump would not be president. That's
Oh
the exact
my
point.
God.
I
That's
made.
what this movie is about. She should make Zero Dark 31 about that, right?
yeah, just imagine like,
Like the
being able
dominoes.
to look over all of time and be like, look, either Donald Trump is president or you can kill it. It's like you get to like just that defending your life scenario of like where are we going here?
That's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Although, again, on the record, Trump might not be president by the time this comes out.
By the time this is out, we're speaking from the confidence of a universe in which Trump is not president.
Yeah, okay. So we're living in a post-Trump world.
Sure.
Right.
And things are definitely a lot better.
That's right.
Yes.
And Osama's
Whoa,
back.
Wait.
yeah, it's the trade. That was the other side of the coin.
Oh,
you know?
right. We did have to let him be a
resurrect
ghost.
him.
Yeah.
And he has a show now,
Yeah.
and we have to, it's on NBC, and it
Right.
sucks, but
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Celebrity Apprentice. He has to host it. That's the trade-off.
Senator Gillibrand had to go down to hell and pull out Osama bin Laden in order to trade.
Yeah.
Oh
It was a real like when you resurrect Jason to fight Freddy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there was like eldritch runes that they underneath like some rug in the Capitol building.
You might have actually just cracked it. I mean, maybe the answer is we just resurrect Jason. Maybe it doesn't need to be a metaphor.
Jason could host Celebrity Apprentice.
Jason
true.
could definitely host Celebrity
That'd be
Apprentice.
great.
He's a
He'd
real
take Manhattan
celebrity.
again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's true. Takes Manhattan by the goddamn ratings.
I mean, the key art writes itself.
Do you think Trump would dare go after Jason on Twitter? I don't think he would.
He'd be like, Jason's a loser. Freddy killed him Freddy won for a reason. I don't.
But that's
Mama's boy, sad.
Yeah. The first killer wasn't even Jason. It was his mother. His mother fights his battles for him. That's pathetic.
Oh God.
It took him 3 movies to figure out the hockey mask. I had my look going from day one. This loser doesn't understand branding.
We're pitching gold here. This is
God. What if by November Trump is like God King of America and this comes out and we're all arrested?
He's fixed it.
well,
He's
it's
fixed
fine because we
everything.
recorded this in August, so the ACLU, which is now probably doesn't exist.
Sure. Yeah, now
Because
it's the
God King.
TCLU or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Would help us. The Trump Civil Liberties.
Exactly.
It's now Trump Civil Liberties University. He resurrected Trump University.
Yeah,
within the ACLU.
only $80,000 a week. You could go to TCLU. All right.
Can I tell my quick story about where
Sure.
I was when?
Fine.
Yes.
Go right
I don't
ahead.
know. What's this podcast?
Yeah, no,
We're
go
50
ahead.
minutes in now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This episode's a 4-parter, by the way.
Yeah.
I was working at the Disney store at the time.
Sure.
In Times Square.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I didn't say it, but
Uh-huh.
yeah. But I dropped out of college to start acting and stuff.
This is the real apex that you're saying. You dropped
Right.
out of college. You're in the Disney store in Times Square.
Well, so I drop out of college, and then like a year in, I get cast in as like the booger type character in this teen movie.
Which one is that?
It's called Beware the Gonzo.
Beware the
Ezra
Gonzo.
Miller
Yes,
and
yes,
Zoe Kravitz,
yes.
and they were both rising stars. And it was like, I'm like the comedic relief in this movie. This could be like a big breakout thing.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being released in one theater that played it one time a day.
Which theater was that?
It was the Tribeca Cinemas.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the one that's usually closed.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did like 7 o'clock once a day for 4 days, and that was the release of that movie. But I was the fucking booger in a teen comedy.
So you're like, I'm hightailing it out of here in 6 months. Like, yeah.
Right. Like there was a rough patch where I couldn't get any work for like a year, and I was like, okay, I gotta get a day job to like fill it in. But I was horny Rob Becker. I'm gonna get a work.
You were horny Rob?
I was horny Rob Becker.
Oh, wow.
You're in the same room
Right.
as horny Ron Becker.
And I was like,
Rob,
I'm gonna get
whatever
more
the hell.
roles. I'm fine, right? And I'd go around like my shifts at the Disney store, and it's a lot of like aspiring Broadway musical actors working there, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, these people don't even know. Like, I'm a fucking movie star. I was third billed and Beware
You sound
the Gonzo.
great. You sound like a
I was in
cool
a
guy.
really dark place,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There was this guy named Michael who worked at the store. Everyone else was like 20s, early 30s at the oldest. And this guy Michael was like over 50 and just put a little extra on everything he did. He was very performative, and he was always taking pictures with customers. Like they were like, Michael, you're the best employee I've ever met. He's like, come on, let's take a selfie. And he would like come and note me on how I was like interacting with customers. He's like, Griff, just a little advice, peer to peer. Use a little more energy there.
Hey man, stop telling them to check out Where the Gonzo.
Yeah. Well, so I never brought it up.
Okay.
Right? Because no one knew. But I was just like, I know I'm going to get another horny Rob Becker, another role of that magnitude, right? So the night that Obama makes the announcement that he's killed bin Laden.
Himself. With
Right.
his own bare hands.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Which is what this movie's about.
Yeah. I went downstairs at the correspondence dinner, had him delivered, and just strangled him. So,
Saw the life leave his eyes.
it was fun. Came up, did some jokes. Had a great night.
Big thanks to Seth Meyers.
Shot a 3-pointer just after that, too. So, really, just a great night for me all around.
Uh-huh.
Also, he held bin Laden down as I punched him in the throat until I drew blood.
So, stop hitting yourself in Urdu. Learned just that one phrase in Urdu, just so I could say, stop hitting yourself to Osama bin Laden. It's your story.
Yeah. So they cut from the press conference.
He's still at the Disney store.
Yeah. They cut from the press conference to like NBC4 local news. And they're like, we're reporting here live from Times Square. There's a lot of energy here. People are relieved. People are crying.
Sure.
We have caught bin Laden. We have one man here ready to talk to us who lost someone on 9/11, Michael Zorich. And my coworker fucking comes out. And it's just like some random New Yorker who's talking about like the voice of all New Yorkers. Because he was just there. And it was like, I guess the shot that's right in front of the Disney store, maybe he was getting off his shift. 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever it is, within that week, the royal wedding happens, right? And there's a big thing where on the
right, it was right then.
Good Morning America screen, they're
Kate
playing
and
the
Will.
royal wedding, and people were watching it in Times
This is
Square.
a big-ass week.
Right?
Yeah, it's a hell of a week.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers did a tight 20, and then
Right.
bin Laden got shot in the face.
Right.
And then Kate and Will got married.
Obama crushed his JFL audition
Yeah.
live on national television. So it's the Kate and William wedding, and the
fuck
front
is this you're
page.
doing
I'm
here?
about to show
Okay,
you
yeah,
the front page of the Daily Post the next day is this guy Michael, my coworker, close-up shot of him with his daughter on his shoulders watching the jumbotron,
Huh.
and then you go inside and
He
it's
beat
like,
out Will and Kate, is what you're saying.
right. I was like, how does this guy keep on finding a way to get himself right in front of a camera whenever there's a big event going on? So then I go like, wait, why does this guy look familiar? And I do some Googling. His name is Michael Zorich. He was like the horny Rob of his time. He was in like 4 shitty, barely released teen comedies where he played like the fat, horny guy. And he's totally who I like was equivalent.
How do you spell this guy's name?
Z-O-R-E-K. He was in Teen Wolf 2.
Wow. Here he is.
You got a visit from future you.
I did, and I
he
was like,
in a lot of 80s movies.
right. And I was like, I gotta shape up or ship out.
Yeah.
That's
in,
when I like had my big like come to mama moment. I was like, you gotta fucking get it together.
Wow.
He was in The Woman in Red,
The death of Osama bin Laden was a big week for you.
Huge.
Camp Nowhere.
Huge. I got my priorities in order.
He was in Private School. He's fourth billed in that.
That was his big one. That was the one where he was like the horny Rob.
Right, with Matthew Modine and Phoebe Cates.
Right, yeah, exactly. The Ezra Miller and Zoe Kravitz of their time.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that's where you were. Where were you, Demi?
I was in a library working on like a group project with a bunch of kids.
Sure.
And I just remember someone like opening up CNN and being like, oh my God, they shot Osama bin Laden. And we were all like, what? Shut up, man. And then like we all opened up and like, whoa. And I remember we all like cheered for a bit, but we were also just kind of like, I feel like we also had like a moment of lucidity where we're like, I don't know why we're cheering.
Is this triumphant?
We're like,
what is
this? That is cool. That is like, I mean, that's got to be relieving for a lot of people, but we were also like, none of us had connections to it. We were just like, that's good for the country. And then we like 10 minutes, we're like, all right, let's go back to working.
But there was that weird thing where it was just, I think there was this frustration over like, not that everyone had like this bloodlust still 10 years later.
Right.
But just like, it's weird that we haven't caught him. And they kept on going like.
Well, it was also weird that we'd done a whole war in Afghanistan that did not seem to have anything positive associated with it. We destabilized the whole country. And then like on top of all that, the one guy we know was involved in 9/11. We hadn't even like sorted that out. It was,
I feel like there were also rumors that he was like there were so many rumors about where he was, but there were people thinking like, he's living in the U.S. now. It's like,
he
what?
lives like in the spire of the Empire State Building, and like,
he's right at the top of Trump Tower.
He controls the weather. No, but it's true. There were all these rumors, and then some people were like, no, he lives in a cave and he's sick, and that's why we can't get him. And it doesn't matter. We don't want to get him. It sucks in that cave.
That was a big one too, which they like kind of allude to in this movie.
Which is Kyle Chandler's big monologue in this movie.
Right. But there was that whole theory that it was like, well, his like livers are really bad. People think he might have just died 5 years ago.
Right.
Like, he might just died in a cave. Right?
I feel like
he had 2 livers, to be fair.
Like even if that was the case, wouldn't you be like, well, then figure it out for sure?
Yeah, maybe just like ask around. But then they would release those videos where he'd be like sitting somewhere and he'd be like, what's up, guys?
he was John Turturroing it. Just doing his little cameo on the beach.
Definitely 06. The Rockies are doing great this year. You know, like, I don't know.
Today I'm going to do a makeup tutorial.
This week, Kate Middleton will get married.
Here's my
Michael
review
Zorich will be standing in Times Square.
Of New Girl, totally adorkable. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever. He would just like make sure to mention some stuff.
Deschanel's a revelation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He just had to make predictions like on the record.
Yeah, he had to do on the record, exactly. Bright, it's going to be great.
I would love to find tapes if he's like, look, I don't think I'm going to make it to 2015. Can we just set a few of these in production? Transformers 10 will be a smash success.
Yes, 0 to 30. Jesus Christ. Are we starting the movie? What are we doing?
So I think the very opening of this movie is actually really smart because she doesn't put too much like, sort of paprika on the sandwich.
You were trying not to say that and then you just said it.
I know.
Yeah.
But they have that one phone call you hear of the woman in the tower.
Yeah, over nothing, over credits.
Just tall black. But it's like a good amount of restraint where it's like, give us like, remind us all how terrifying that was on the day.
Sure.
Which it does. Hearing that.
Yeah,
totally
no good.
Fucking, yeah.
Did you guys see this movie in theaters?
Initially?
I did.
I saw it in theaters.
I did too. And I don't remember how I felt in theaters because I remember coming out and being like, yeah, that was the movie. But like watching it this time, I was just kind of like, wait, this must have been so jarring to watch in 2012. Just like here, starting right off the bat with here is a 9/11 phone call.
I know. And I just remember the theater experience being very tense.
Yeah.
This movie is tense. It has a lot of scenes where nothing happens and then something blows up, which is stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a lot of just creeping dread. Like,
yes.
And then the moment of relief at the end, she like does everything to make sure you're not that like relieved, if that makes sense. It's more just sort of like, it's like not like
kind of what I like about it, like that it's designed to be.
I mean,
it's like the anti-revenge thriller.
I mean, I think that is what she's going for. But I mean, we're going to talk about it on Detroit next week, which is just going to be like a laugh riot of an episode that we're all going to have a great time recording.
When I like the first thing I said when this movie ended is like, no fucking way am I going to see Detroit. Like for the entire time that movie's been out, I've just been like, I don't think I can handle it. I think it's going to be too much. All the reviews say like it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to do it. And then watching this, I was just reminded of like, well, if this is how she handles this, I don't think I can go to Detroit.
It's all the seeds of, I think, what undid her with Detroit. It's like she's very impassive. She wants you to bring a lot to what her thing is like, I am showing you like very detail-oriented stuff, like reconstructions, but like I want you to project things onto this. Is how I feel she behaves.
Which is what I think will hurt the legacy of Zero Dark 30, because if you don't grow up remembering what it was like in those 10 years where we didn't know where Bin Laden was, I don't think this movie has any real power.
Sure.
Outside of just like technical
it has some power as a tale. Well,
and,
it's a technically very accomplished movie.
Right.
It has a lot of power in terms of like you're watching this person whose only life has been this. And then when it's done, it's like, great. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like the end for her is not particularly satisfying.
Yeah.
Which I like. I mean, I remember being very blown away when I saw this movie in theaters.
Sure.
Just being like, yep, 100%. She nailed it. This is better than The Hurt Locker.
I don't think it's better than The Hurt Locker. But I do like this movie, I should say. I mean,
seeing it out of theaters, like walking out of the theater the first time, I thought it was better than The Hurt Locker. Hadn't seen it since then. It diminished a lot for me this time.
Uh-huh.
It weirdly feels like a movie that's shelf life is already like
a little bit.
I mean, shrinking. Yeah.
Well, and also it's like you're like, oh, Al Qaeda. Remember when that was the villain, not ISIS?
When they kept saying ISI, I was like, ISIS.
ISIS, get ready. They're going to add this. No, yeah, exactly.
But it is that weird thing dated. Because it was such recent history. Like when the movie came out, it was dramatizing things that happened like 18 months earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
That now that we're in a different climate, the movie is so devoid of any larger context like that because she's asking you to bring everything to the table.
I think so. I do think that's how she functions. And in the Detroit, she's doing the same thing. We'll talk about Detroit. Jesus.
Yeah. I still haven't seen it at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
I feel kind of similar to you.
I'm glad that you guys didn't want me to watch Detroit because every time I see the trailer, I'm just like, I don't think I could deal with this.
It's
well, you are in town. You usually live in LA. You're in New York. And, I was very, very excited at the prospect of having you as a guest. And I said, we're going to be starting this Catherine Bigelow miniseries. Are any of them that jump out to you? And you said that this was the only one you'd seen.
Yeah.
That you heard Point Break was really cool.
Everyone says Point Break is great. I know it's endlessly parodied. I've seen like, Hot Fuzz and whatnot. And I was just like, Point Break, that'll be a fun one to watch. Mm-hmm. But you were like, well, do the one you've seen before. And
I just felt like, it's good if you have some higher relationship to the thing.
Sure.
Whatever
I definitely do think that I'd be better talking about this than I would Point Break because I'd just be like, it was funny when he did the
Point
bike.
Break is a lot of that.
They skydive and something.
Yeah, but for you, this was like surf. When you saw it in theaters, you were kind of like about it, and it sounds like it's diminished even more for you.
I think when I came out of the theater, I was very much like, whoa, that was dramatic and very well made. But I think my connection to the events of like 9/11 weren't as strong and weren't as like. I was never like, we gotta get Osama bin Laden. Like so when it happened, I was just kind of like, whoa,
yeah,
okay. But like, so seeing the movie, I was just coming at it from the place of like, I remember this event. This is crazy, and like it was just very dramatic. But I just remember I wasn't as like I remember thinking when people were like, it's gonna get nominated for Best Picture, and it did. I was like, okay, I don't think it should win, but okay.
Right.
So, but yeah, I also knew that she was coming off The Hurt Locker, and I hadn't seen The Hurt Locker, but I knew it won Best Picture, but I was just like, well, this is going to be incredible, I bet.
Right.
Yeah. And it was like a big deal when she didn't get nominated for Best Director. She was like a big snub that year.
Yeah. I guess so. Let me look at the...
Because that was the year Affleck didn't get nominated and she didn't get nominated. Both of them were considered
it was
locks.
Seen as a lock for a lot of things, and then, there was a lot of... furore around this movie.
No, that was the year after the King's Speech one, right?
It's a few years after that. No, it's the year after. You're right. Yeah. King's Speech is 2010. Right.
So this
is 11. Artist? Oh no, this is 2 years after. Artist is the year before. This is the Argo year.
Got it.
Where Ang Lee wins Best Director for Life of Pi, everyone's favorite movie.
Right.
That everyone always talks about.
That was that weird thing. Was
I always talk about the direction in that movie.
No, but that was like everyone thought that either Bigelow or Affleck would win Best Director, and then neither of them got nominated, and then Ang Lee kind of won by default.
I feel like it was one of those scenarios where everyone's like, I mean, Ang Lee, we gotta...
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Ang Lee?
It's the Coens that year.
No, it's Michelle Haneke for Amour.
Right.
Another laugh riot that everybody loves to talk about.
Right.
Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Yeah.
Which is a very... just...
Weird nom.
Yeah. I feel like every year they've got one that it's like, well, this is the fresh new kid that we want to show people that you can do this too.
And that's always the person who all season, every like Oscar handicapper has been like, no chance he gets nominated.
Yeah.
And then it's like the Lenny Abramson like surprise of like, oh, they nominated the Room guy?
Yeah, that was weird.
Frank.
Spielberg for Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And
It was a
David
default nom.
David O. Russell for Silver Linings Playbook. It's a weird slate.
Weird.
I remember that year. That was the year that I was like, Silver Linings Playbook better not win all of these fucking awards.
Well,
Even though I liked the movie, I was just like, it
won one award.
What was that?
Best Actress.
Jenny Lawrence.
Oh yeah, no.
And then she fell down. And Hugh
America
Jackman
fell in love.
ran to save her.
And then I loved her again.
Right.
Because she trips like me.
But that is the one award.
You know, Jessica Chastain should have been klutzy in this movie. That would have been.
I think if she had been a little bit more relatable, as opposed to just focused.
So you're saying she could have been adorkable?
Maybe.
She should have been a little.
I mean, as
adorable.
Osama told us, this was a big year for adorkable.
She has like bangs and like big glasses or something. I don't know.
I break for birds, and I want to kill Osama bin Laden.
Forgot about I break for birds.
I love New Girl so much.
Me too. I love New Girl.
It's a fantastic show.
Yes, agreed.
It's just fun to make fun of adorable.
Yes.
Yeah, that initial advertising campaign was rough.
I have to imagine they look back on that now and just go, "Well, we really missed the mark."
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Well, I mean, I remember like my biggest takeaway after seeing it in theaters was like Chastain fucking walking away with the Oscar.
Interesting, sure.
Like when I saw this, I was like, Chastain, fucking powerhouse.
I think she's great in the
She's
movie.
like emerged in the last 2 years as like our next great fucking American actor.
Yeah.
And here's this vehicle for her. She's like got the reins, and her character is so fascinating. And that end scene hit me so hard. And I always was like, fucking Chastain should have won instead of Lawrence. Like Lawrence would have won another
Was Chastain
year.
nominated?
She was nominated.
She was.
And it was like Lawrence was inevitable. She was going to win an Oscar at some point. It felt like this was like Chastain's perfect
Well, she had even
performance.
won already with Winter's Bone, right?
No, she's
nominated.
just been
Oh,
nominated.
right.
Her
Yeah.
only win is Silver
Linings.
Linings.
Wait, no, I thought she's won twice.
She's
No.
won once.
No, she
And
almost
she's-
won for fucking American Hustle. I mean, I
right.
feel like had she not won this year, she probably would have won for American Hustle.
Right, that was the thing. It just felt like it was so clear that like she was America's new like great shining hope to save Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they were going to give her the Oscar before she was 30.
Sure.
Like
Well,
no matter what, she was
she's,
going to get it one way or another.
She's still not 30.
Very aware of that.
J-Law?
27 years old.
Hmm.
A young woman. Younger than me.
Younger than me?
Yep.
Older than me.
There you go,
And
Ben.
I'm 12.
So you still got a chance.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, to be the
Younger
next.
than me, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to bum you out there.
No, it's okay.
So the movie Zero Dark 30, after
Yeah.
these opening credits,
Right.
begins with
Torture.
Oh, torture. Right,
Begins
right.
with torture.
25 minutes of torture. Begins with my girlfriend being like, we have to watch this tonight?
Oh my god. It was so hard to watch.
Yeah.
All of the hardest stuff to watch comes in the first hour of the movie. And then
Yes.
like the next 45 minutes are just them talking like, we gotta get him.
Right.
And yeah, it's just
Well, it's a
Which
kind of a 5-act movie. It's a weird,
it is.
like, it's these isolated sections that are like 35 minutes long that are each kind of focused around.
Well, because
Yeah.
right, the beginning of the movie is like Jason Clarke is the torturer, and Jennifer Ely is boss lady, and Jessica Chastain's like a sidekick.
she
Harold
doesn't like
Perrineau
it.
is also here.
Yeah. yes, he is. He's
Jason
got a laptop.
Jason Clarke's role in this movie is so weird. Like he's
I think his role is actually really.
I think he's the best part of this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
Carry
do.
on. Please,
Yeah.
but please, Demi.
I
talk.
just like just in terms of I think the character of what maybe it's just what I would want to see in this thing where it's like he is almost unempathetic just in the sense of like he's a torturer and then
Yes.
also seems very bro-y, but then he also has this thing with the monkeys that he gets really sad about and it's like I can't do this anymore and he leaves and becomes a suit and it's just like his progression seems almost like I mean it's like kind of someone growing up but not for the right it's
right.
yeah.
But I think that's intentional. I mean, like as you said, like the first part of this movie is the hardest part. I mean, there's this moment halfway through the movie where they're all just watching TV and you see this interview with Obama saying like torture is not American and we
Right.
shouldn't torture people. And then there's no more torture in the movie because as like the CIA stopped doing it, at least, you know, so we're told or so Bull's told. And like, it's like no one ever says like, he's right.
yeah.
We should, you know, it was pretty fucked up all that torture we did. It's just like, it becomes like, that's what the
It
CIA
kind of
is
feels like
now.
they wanted to be like fuck him like
Yeah, like they're sort of like, you know,
Yeah.
but and the same with Clark, where he's like during the Bush era, he's like, yeah, man, you want me to just like tough my hair up, just all the way up, and like waterboard people, great. And then in the Obama years, he's like, I'm a suit now,
Yeah.
and it's like rather than anyone being held accountable, or put through any kind of. It's more just like, no, we'll just move everything around.
Well, can I throw out my hot takes on this?
Yeah, sure.
Because I got a lot of feelings.
Just what we need, a hot take.
I got a lot of feelings on all of that and the response to it that happened culturally. Right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think this was kind of this watershed moment where it felt like people were not willing to read subtext at all. And I'm not saying the movie makes all of its points completely successfully. And I'm not saying it's on the right side of everything.
No, I agree.
But it was one of those things where it felt like people were angry that the movie didn't have a scene where a character looked at the camera and said torture is wrong. We shouldn't have done that.
Right. But that would be...
It didn't have an atonement
scene. To
me,
that's too easy, yeah.
And also it's false, and we didn't do that. Like, what's frustrating about this story is that, like, we did a lot of fucked up stuff.
We elected a new boss who was like, don't do just this one thing. Very bad. Like, you can still do a lot of stuff, but like, don't do some of these things. Yeah.
Right, and no one was ever, like,
come on, Ben,
really
you want to say
held accountable
for
but
it. Is the play then to reference, like, that famous photograph of the
Abu Ghraib?
Right, that's the question, which is like
the thing you put
in?
in?
Like, that woman became a scapegoat for all the unease that America had with the torture, because it was like, well, here's a good example.
Right, bad apple.
Crossed
bad
a line.
apple. Oh, yeah, sure, right. We weren't telling her to do that. Jeez, don't take pictures. What are you guys thinking?
Right. Whereas Jason Clarke is like a successful blue-collar torturer. Like,
he just works his way up. Right.
He just makes the guy shit his pants and show his dick to Jessica Chastain. You know?
And like, right, this is all right at the start, and you're like, oh, boy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do you remember the metal part where they play that? Now, all right, I looked the band up. They're called Rorschach. They're a Jersey hardcore band.
Of course they are. Did you go to high school with them, Ben?
No, I didn't.
Did you come out of the furnace with them, Ben?
Hey, don't you dare.
Ben grew up in the town that the movie Out of the Furnace is based on.
No, I grew up nearby it. And I know the
you know those
that
guys.
It's sort of based on.
You know all those hillbillies.
So anyway.
There was this guy playing a banjo. All right, but wait. Rorschach, the Jersey hardcore band.
So if you're a metal band, that's like such a fucking compliment.
Right.
Use
like
your
our
music to
was
torture
used for
terrorists.
Torture.
That's metal as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just proud to know that they were a post-hardcore band from New Jersey.
That's very cool.
There's a scene in Homeland. Like, I didn't realize that was a torture technique until that scene from Homeland where they're doing the same thing with the lights going on. And I was just like, whoa, I really feel like that would fuck me up.
That's mean.
Yeah.
I like sleeping.
One of the things that really sells the torture in this movie is that, like, they do waterboarding and like, I'm sure they probably did electric shock, but those aren't the ones that they show up front. Like, the ones that they show are the ones where you have to think about it as like, oh, that's not what I think of as torture, but that is torture, and that's why it's so effective.
And that, of course, is part of the quote-unquote enhanced interrogation technique shit that they did. It was it was like, all right, we know we can't do these very obvious things. We can't hurt them with, like, weapons. We can't, but, like, there's definitely a lot of ways to make people really, really miserable.
So, like, you step off the mat stuff, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
But I do think...
the thing where they bring the mat behind him, too, and then Jason Clarke, like, kind of football tackles him, like, with his knee, I
do think the thing I find interesting about the Jason Clarke character is that arc where you're saying, like, he goes to Washington and becomes a suit, but it doesn't really feel like he's grown up. I think what the movie's trying to do is, like, this guy's broken now. Like, you're seeing him at the beginning of the movie, and he's very high functioning. He's in this bro sort of, like, working out all this rage that sort of, like, he encapsulates the worst, like, oorah, let's get him sort of feelings we had in our culture, trying to just, if I got Bin Laden, I'd strangle him myself kind of things, and just whatever it takes. And he's sort of talked himself into it, and he's figured out all of that. And then you see, like, the monkey attachment is like, this is this guy who has no sense of, like, humanity anymore to a degree. Like, he's trained that out of his body. He doesn't really know how to relate to other people. Right. He's sort of at a disconnect, and then he goes and just works in Washington because he doesn't know who he is anymore.
There's that, but I think it's also just the banality thing of, like, people follow orders. He works for the CIA, and they tell him, like, we do these things, and he's like, okay, I'm going to do those things. And then it's like, we don't do those things anymore. It's like, yeah, well, okay, I don't have to do them.
And he doesn't go full Michael Biehn, like the abyss, like I've lost my mind, but he just seems like kind of a broken guy once you get to DC.
To Michael Biehn.
Thank you.
But the beginning is. It's more. It's 2003.
Yeah.
It's more post, like close to 9/11. We're in Afghanistan. We're about to enter Iraq, or maybe we just have. And he's torturing this guy at Guantanamo Bay, who's a member of Al Qaeda for, like, info about attacks and stuff like that. And she's there.
It's her first day at the office,
but it's like literally she's being, like, trained. Yes.
Right.
I was so, like. I think just watching this movie again for the first time and just sort of having, like, moments where I would remember things just before they'd happen, I was just kind of, like, I had this moment where they did the scene where Jessica Chastain can't handle all the torture stuff that's happening.
Right at the
start. And I was just like, wait, is the message of this movie supposed to be like, oh, she can't handle it, but then she gets to a point where she can handle it. And I was just like, I don't know how I feel about that. But just there was so much at the beginning of like, she can't handle it, but she's gonna try. But she really can't handle it. And I was like, what are you guys trying to do here?
I think that's Bigelow's trick, though. She's like, this is the information I have. Yeah. Make of it what you will. And like, it can really bounce back in her face, which I think is what happened with Detroit. And it happened with this too, but this movie was more successful than Detroit.
But you do have a lot of reaction shots of Chastain in those first 30 minutes where she doesn't have a lot of dialogue.
Looking uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking uncomfortable.
But then there's that scene where he's like, he basically is pleading with her like she's going to be the good cop. And she's just like, you're only doing this to yourself because you're not being truthful. You know, she just retreats to the company line.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the most telling thing is that, you know, this movie said like, well, this movie is pro-torture because it's saying that torture led us to this information that got Bin Laden. And it's like, first of all, years in between. Right?
Yeah.
In the span of everything this movie's telling. Secondly, they only really get information when they go about it the entirely different way of let's take the guy out of the room, let's feed him some lunch, let's tell him it's already right. Like the movie kind of makes the argument that it's that torture shit didn't really work.
It does make that argument. The reason people like Glenn Greenwald, who was very mad about this movie, and some other people were mad, was that there's one piece of intelligence they get right at the start, which is this name of the courier, Abu Ahmed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, we never got that from torture. And like a lot of other people were like, how dare you show anything being gotten from torture because it doesn't usually work or, you know.
Yeah.
And Mark Bowles' response was just like, look, man, like that's what my reporting showed me was that they got that way.
We tortured people and we got information.
Right. And it was the Obama administration by the time this movie comes out. And they're very like, you know, very much trying to be like, no, we, you know, like that's bad. Like we don't do that. And it's not a good way to do it. Right.
We are good.
And, you know, I guess it's just sort of, I mean, I think that's their line, essentially.
Right. Obama had passed the Dent Law at that point in time.
He passed the Dent Act.
And crime was illegal.
The heroic sacrifice of our great Attorney General.
Harvey Dent.
Who definitely didn't kill anyone.
No. That damn Joker was like, I'm going to torture twice as many people.
You talking about Ricky T?
Yeah. Ricky T. Joker.
Yeah, Richard T. Joker.
Yeah, of course.
Great callback, Griff.
Yeah. Oh, and on the record, since we're recording this in September, I'm sure everyone is really excited. Thank you all for the nice tweets congratulating me on being announced as the director of the 5th Joker movie.
Oh, they really had to scrape, but then they found you. Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing the stop motion Fable Joker musical.
Can I ask just real quick about that? Why'd you let Kaufman write?
Okay. So here's my thing. I felt like I had to rein him in a little bit. You know, I felt like maybe I could be the sort of Gondry to his Kaufman in a push and pull kind of way.
All right, you want Eternal Sunshine, not Anomalisa.
I want the full sort of heady ideas coming out of him, but then I want to move it into a more fantastical, sort of audience-friendly, kind of emotional zone.
Right. The Joker is nothing if not family-friendly and emotional.
Right.
That's my take on the Joker.
Yeah,
and Todd Phillips has his take, and the Crazy Stupid Love guys have their take, and Michael Haneke has his take.
I can't wait to see that.
We know the full 5 that have been announced at this point.
They're all based off of David Ayer's take, what if he was a cop?
Right. What if cop,
which
what if
he
twisted?
shouted before he was taken off to jail.
What if he was a cop?
By a bunch
what
of
about
orc
the
policemen.
puppets, though? I felt that was a weird choice.
No, it's
the marionettes.
I think when you see how the puppets are used, you will get it. We really pushed the technology very far, and I think we've gotten more expressiveness out of these puppets.
I was in the edit for one of the scenes. Also, you should know they CG out the wires.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
wow.
of course. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So this is my stop motion and puppet.
And you don't know how to puppet anything, so you just jerk them up and down.
Yeah.
But they do take the wires out, so the characters are just like this the whole time.
Yeah, I should clarify, when I said I'm directing it, what I meant is I'm doing all of it. And when I said that Warner Brothers hired me, I meant I just did this in my living room. I haven't seen other people for weeks.
But you do have advanced CGI wire removing technology on your laptop.
And Charlie Kaufman did write it.
It's weird. It's weird. He did. He dropped it off in your mailbox.
I did everything else.
You spent all that tick money on Charlie. I need you to write the script for
all
me.
that tick money. I hired him. I commissioned him. Write me a musical Joker, half marionette, half stop motion Fable.
And Warner Brothers is like, we're not going to sue you. This doesn't seem like people will sue you.
Well, they're not worried about
Here's
it.
the thing. I knew it was a
You're
buyer's
trying to get them
market.
to sue you.
It was a buyer's market, and they need more Joker movies.
And
They're
you're trying
looking
to
at their
sell it to
slate.
Netflix.
They have 12 different release slots a year. And they only have 4 Joker movies.
Joker only.
Yeah, if you make a Joker movie, it will get bought.
They also refer to months as release slots now.
Oh boy.
Happy 12th release slot, everyone.
Yeah.
They've really waterboarded a guy for this movie.
Yeah.
I was just like, how? Because
Great transition, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
loved
looked
it.
back down at my notes and I was like, I want to mention that it seems like they had to really waterboard a guy for this movie.
What it looks looks
as-
like waterboarding to me.
And as the director, why, Griffin?
Of this movie?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He waterboarded a puppet. Look, it's fine. It's
Right.
a puppet. It can't feel.
I wonder if that's one of those cases where like Bigelow was like, we got to do it real, or the actor was like, I need to do it for real.
I have to imagine the actor was probably like, I don't want to. This is one of my first movies. I'm playing a terrorist. I don't want to.
That dude's a fucking great French actor.
Is he really?
Khatib. He is in this movie I saw that was like a big hit in France called Hippocrate, about young doctors at a hospital, and he won like best supporting actor at the season.
wow.
And the dude fucking kills it. And he was in A Prophet too, and now he's like a big leading man in France.
That's
And
great.
it hasn't really translated here, but he's like a great actor. And I hadn't rewatched this movie since seeing him in other stuff.
One thing that I just felt I feel like there's also the difference of like who I was in 2012 versus who I am now.
Yeah.
And like I watched it on Amazon and it had all those X-ray things where like every so often I go to pause it and it just show all the names of people.
No, it's a great company.
It's a wonderful it's a wonderful system. I love it very much. The ticket available now.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Still streaming.
I kept seeing the thing where it was like oh, this is the person. It's like just playing terrorist or playing like man, and I just kept feeling like, how many people is like this their first role and they have to play terrorist in a movie where we're all rooting for,
Right, which sucks. It sucks. And it's like that's when people get into this thing of like, well, how are you like? How is it backwards if you're only playing terror? I'm verbalizing this very poorly, but I had this thought while watching the movie, which is like the problem is if you're like an actor of Middle Eastern descent, pretty much unless someone decides to make a movie about fighting terrorism, there aren't that many roles that you could possibly go up for.
Yeah,
sure.
Which blows. And then you imagine like when this movie was announced and like the casting calls went out, it was the simultaneous like, fuck, they got like 60 roles to cast.
Yeah.
I probably have a good shot of getting this.
Right. I'm sure there's sort of like a begrudging like, we got to get paid in this too.
Right.
I have a lot of friends that are making the joke of like we'll all keep our heads down when we're in the Confederate audition room.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
In November, come on the record, they're like, forget it. I'm sorry. It was a bad idea. Forget it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Confederate, for those of you who are living in November, was a poor idea by HBO.
Yeah. And and of course, on the record, I should announce that I've just sold my new TV show to HBO, which is about people trying to make Confederate. It's about the opposition to writing the TV show Confederate.
I love it.
The thing
it's called The Underground Railroad to Confederate.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say, what you were saying about like how watching this movie in a different place, and it's crazy that things have shifted this much in like less than 5 years.
Yes.
But it was like watching that movie when it came out, it was like, well, yeah, but we're good now.
Right.
You know, we won. We got Bin Laden.
And
we got Obama.
had just been reelected.
Right. Shit fucking rules. America's on the up and up. Like, America's got it going on.
It really feels like we all came to it from the place of like, we got to remember the bad guy here is Osama bin Laden.
Right.
Remember what he did?
So also right. It's like, look, torture. Yes, we can have these conversations, but it's all over now.
It's like, imagine
true.
how much he tortured.
Yeah. Like, that was Bush stuff, and the Bush stuff sucked. But remember, nothing's ever going to be bad again, ever again.
Exactly. Obama gets to be president forever, right?
Right.
That's definitely, that's the rule, right?
Right.
He's on vacation for now.
And after him, we'll elect Malia? I don't know.
We'll think about it.
It's keep going down the chain.
Right.
It's nothing but black people from here on out.
But then you watch this now, and you're just like, I don't like anything we do.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a moment near the end where I was like, after all the torture had gone, like I was struck with the realization of like, she just had the line of like, I'm going to find him and I'm going to kill Osama bin Laden. And I just heard an electric guitar riff in my head. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It was the Wonder Woman riff. And I was just like, oh yeah, this movie is really about revenge. And then from there on out, like they show the raid and they start saying like, I just popped this guy. And I was just like, oh, this is how it is.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But I also think that is how it is.
No, yeah.
Right, where they're all just like
accurate.
chilling, drinking beer, and they're like, let's bet $50 on horseshoes. And then someone's like, go to this house, shoot everyone.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, cool.
And
cool,
they all,
sure, yeah.
it's all based off of the confidence of this woman. And I was just like, it would be such a more, like,
That's the crazy thing.
that's the
Someone at a table being like, should we send 2 helicopters, like 30 guys right here? What do you think?
And everyone else is like 60, 80.
Maybe.
And she's like, this is the first thing I've done. I'm going to say 100. And like, as someone who's been watching her this entire time, obviously you're on the side of like, well, she's going to do it. She's the protagonist.
Right. Yeah.
But also, I feel like you get a sense, watching it this time, I got a sense of like, no, she's obsessed with revenge. It's very easy for her to have been wrong here.
Yep.
And to see a movie where like, imagine getting Zero Dark 30 and then the twist is like, nope, this wasn't Osama bin Laden. That's not the story we're telling.
They go there and it's like Pauly Shore.
It's Valkyrie. Right.
What are you guys doing here?
And then he's assassinated and everyone's happy. Yes.
But
Chris
is
Pratt
this for
shoots him in the
Biodome?
face.
There is that thing that like
They go into the biodome.
Yeah.
that Bigelow Bowl like lack of context, like this is just what it is thing.
Sure.
I think it worked in 2012 because it was just like, well, everyone wanted to catch Bin Laden, like whether they wanted him murdered, whether they wanted him to face a trial. There was a sense of like, we got to get him. And now this character's lack of context is kind of weird because she just seems like, what's her big hang up? You know? It's weird to think about that time when that was like still the thing. When there was still one clear guy we need to take down. Because like ISIS is such a sort of nebulous, vague
There's no
force.
like yeah.
Well, and also there's an argument in this movie, her and Kyle Chandler, where he's saying like, you know, there's no lone wolves to worry about. Like we have to worry about people who are actually doing shit. And Osama bin Laden, he's just chilling out. And like, you know, and like then I'm thinking like, oh, that's like all that we're fighting now. It's just like information on the internet, you know, people who can be radicalized in any way or whatever. I don't know.
And smaller events at greater frequency.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, and Kyle Chandler's like the stuffed shirt who's like stopping our hero from
They
fucking
give him
killing
the
it.
worst hair.
Yeah,
his hair is
really
rough
bad.
in this movie.
It's really bad.
It's like she's like, how do I make you less attractive? Like, what do I have to do?
They wanted early edition Kyle Chandler.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mark Strong's wig.
That is how he
better
rose
than
to
Kyle
power in the
Chandler's
CIA.
Oh, early edition
Was the cat delivering him the fucking paper
he had the
every
newspaper
morning.
saying, "Hey, we're gonna get Osama bin Laden tomorrow," and he's like, "I'll tell you guys."
Yeah, not yet. Trust me, not yet.
I'm waiting.
It's not a cave, but we'll see where it is.
But the other thing is, yes, you have this motivating factor in the movie of the death of the CIA chief in Afghanistan, who's played by Jennifer Ely, who's really good in this movie.
Really fucking good in this.
Yeah.
And it was a year after Contagion, which she is so good in. It was that thing where she was just popping up in movies and like killing it.
And both of those movies, she's like the secret heart of the film.
Yes.
Like, she's the emotional core of both, despite limited screen time.
And what I like about her in this movie is she's sort of like to Chastain, she's being like, look, no, you can be like a regular person and have this job. Like you don't have to be this like wraith who walks the halls of some office and has no family
Which
or
is like
life.
Jason Clarke. That's the counter.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. And whereas Jessica Chastain's like, no, I have kids, and like
they make that joke about him not coming to meet them for dinner.
Right.
One of the 6 times they accidentally are in the place that gets bombed.
Right.
That does happen a mite too frequently.
I remember like the first time I saw this movie, I was always caught off guard by the bombings, and this time, like I felt like I was watching the filmmaking, being like, well, I know. Because I didn't remember exactly, but I was like,
why is this taking too long?
Yeah, I was like, it's a lot of establishing shots. This bus seems to be going nowhere important. We haven't seen any of the people. It's going to blow up.
And yes, and the first time watching it, you're like, they've already bombed 3 times. They can't do it a 4th, right? Catherine's not that crazy.
A lot of bombs.
There were like 4 or 5 bombings in the first hour of this movie.
And then there's that thing later where she's in her car and they start shooting at her, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, she this happened as well?
But if you've seen it a second time, you know that's happening. You know to expect the crazy violence out of nowhere.
I forgot the car thing. I was like, oh, why?
but the contrast between like the banality and the like the hyper violence isn't as startling when you've already seen the movie.
No, but I think it was startling to just because I knew that like Jennifer Ely's death was coming. I had that moment where I was like, oh yeah, it happens in a car explosion, and then I started realizing like she's being way too positive. She's
way too gung ho about this, right?
Yeah, and then I was like, so. They are also focusing on her entirely. Like Maya's not even in these scenes.
Right. She's just like LOL. Like she's IMing her like
I took screen
ROFL.
caps. I'm like, we got him. BRB. I was just like, well, this is not how CIA operatives should be.
No. And I also read, like, both
cars coming super slowly and forebodingly SMH.
I'm gonna make him a cake and pour. I was like, this is such a high, like, she really wants you to love this just to make it hurt so much more.
It does hurt.
But the Jennifer Eel Chastain relationship is a fictional relationship, and they're both kind of composite characters of some different people.
Yeah. Sort of, but yeah, the Chastain character is supposedly mostly based on this woman who sounds absolutely insane.
Yes.
I don't mean to be mean about a person
but
who
she's like a
works
buzzsaw
for the CIA and could probably have me murdered all kinds of ways.
No,
but if you
they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I want to find her name because the person she's based on is crazy.
Jessica Chastain.
Crazy. It was just Jessica. That's why they cast her.
Wasn't Homeland also based on this same woman?
Yes, Alfreda Francis Bukowski.
Yes,
who headed the Bin Laden station and the Global Jihad Unit, which sounds just like a blast. I mean, that sounds like so much fun. She is known as the Queen of Torture. She married her boss, Michael Schur, who famously once suggested that we should consider...
Mike Schur?
Creator of The Good Place?
Creator of The Good Place, who famously once said we should assassinate Barack Obama.
I remember him saying that in the room.
Yeah, he tested it on you guys, and then he was like, should I say this publicly?
We were like, it's not going to work out of Kristen Bell's mouth, but if you tweet it.
Okay, bad joke pitch.
She seems a lot tougher than this Maya character. Tougher is one word for it. Scarier. I don't know, whatever you want to put it. But
definitely, it's clear
there's
that
definitely an element of her
softened.
there.
Yeah.
Which I think,
they've said she's a composite though, so there are other characters that are wrapped into her.
But I read I did almost no research into the real events that this film's depicting because it obviously takes a lot of liberties. I did look into this woman a little bit, but the one thing I got because Amazon X-Ray so pleasantly gifted it to me was that in real life that meeting was like the fourth time the guy had come to visit them.
Oh, really?
You mean the bombing, the
yes, the doctor character, right? He had come and spoken to them 3 times. So they were like more guarded the first time he came.
Sure.
And then when like 3 or 4 times later, they were like, you know what? He's really like, he sat down. He's given us a lot of information. Right. Clearly our guard is down. We're fine. That's when he like pulled the trigger.
Right. Whereas it does feel a little like where they're like, she's like, don't worry about the gate. Just bring him in. And they're like, well, we usually check people coming in.
Right.
As soon as she did, I was just like, well, I know that's not how it happened, but still, this is a stupid thing for someone to do.
Right.
Sure.
Right. It goes a little into that like the Lego Batman thing where the guy's driving the car and he's like, I love my life. I hope nothing bad happens to me today. Like she's like making the cake.
Yeah.
She's like, BRB. But we'll just talk to this guy very quickly and then definitely we'll still be alive at the end of talking to him.
It's like it feels like the only thing she didn't say is I can't believe I'm getting out of here tomorrow or like
right.
One day till retirement.
Yeah.
So excited for my 3-day weekend.
But that is not really a composite character, Jennifer Ely. That's just based on Jennifer Matthews, who was like the person.
Okay.
Who,
it was also
the station chief.
I feel like we didn't learn she was a mother of 3 until she died.
Until the the TV report.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But so then at the end of that's when Jessica Chastain, when Maya was like, "Yeah, I'm going to kill Bin Laden."
It gets kind of
right,
personal
like
at that
she's made it personal. Do we need that? I don't know.
I feel like it really I mean, if they had taken a turn where it was about her obsession with it,
sure,
which I feel like they kind of did,
yeah.
but they didn't really hit it maybe as hard as I wanted them to. Then I feel like that would have made sense. But that line just feels like it's a line for people in the theater to be like, yeah. now it's all positive from here on out.
It does.
I think Mark Bohl's a bad writer of dialogue. I think that comes through a lot more in Detroit.
What else has he done besides Detroit?
Hurt Locker, this.
He's done movies.
Right. He's just the guy who works with her on these
Bigelow
movies.
and Bowl.
Yeah.
Bigelow and Bowl.
Attorneys at law.
He also apparently wrote the story for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Ah, yeah, you can tell.
So there you go.
And Serial season 2.
Oh wait, that's true.
Yeah.
Bo
Serial
Bergdahl.
season
Yes,
2
of course.
is
Yes, that's from his
trying
files.
to research the Bo
Bergdahl
movie.
A lot of B's happening.
Yeah,
Bo Bergdahl, Bigelow, and Bowl.
They are going to join up and start a law firm.
Right. And they're going to buy Sterling Cooper Draper Price.
Yeah.
I know
And
that's not a law firm.
Waterboard.
Before anyone corrects me, I know that's not a law firm.
Form?
Before anyone corrects me, I know the name is firm not to
But
form.
here's my question about the movie. Because so you got those
Yeah.
first 40 minutes that are pretty solid plot wise. You know, the beginning of the movie up until
right,
Ely dies.
and I think effectively upsetting.
I agree. And then you have
Yes.
the last 40 minutes, which are essentially like once Gandolfini comes into the raid, right?
Yes, right.
Where you're. But then there's this middle 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's kind of just like shit happening. And it's like a lot of time is
Right.
passing, but we're not really being told how much
And
time.
I loved it in the theater, and I felt
I was a little bored watching it, rewatching it.
yeah,
I'll admit.
because I remember being on the edge of my seat and just being like, "This is such an interesting process movie." Like I like watching
and it
the
is
gears
probably
work.
it is probably
I
a better
like
movie in
seeing all
theater.
the
I should
little pieces.
acknowledge it's been a while, and yeah, when you're locked in with it, I guess you have to pay more attention to all the info they're sort of dripping
Yeah,
out.
and I
Yes.
watched it on an iPad, which is like not the best way to watch this
Yeah,
movie.
and you
'cause
were
it's very
jerking
dark.
off, which is weird.
I lasted pretty long. I mean, you got to give me
2
credit.
hours 40.
Plus, you had to give Kaufman notes. So
I
you were
did.
just 3 things at once.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the strengths of watching it in theaters is something that I was like, complaining about and rewatching, which is that because they put all those torture and like the explosion stuff up front,
Right at
you're
the
like
start.
so focused on
Yeah.
like holy shit, things are going down, and then you
Right.
have that slow piece where nothing's happening,
Right.
but you're
You're still kind of on the hook.
You're still
Yeah.
focused, but right at that point, it's basically she being like, "This guy's alive," and people are like, "No, he isn't."
right.
And she's like, "I think he is," and people are like, "No, he's not." You know, and like it's sort of that for a while. So
Yeah.
a guy buys a Lamborghini. Like there's sort of stuff.
Which I'm still very confused about how that, like, what did they get out of that?
He gives them a name or a phone number or something in exchange,
Yeah.
or like his mother does. Maybe like there's some like exchange happening
They
there
had to call
because
up the
that's when
Lamborghini
Jason
guy.
Clarke goes to see the Wolf,
Yeah.
who's another real CIA guy who is this white CIA agent who converted to Islam upon like being stationed in the Middle East years ago. And he's like, "Give me $250,000. I want to buy a Lamborghini."
Yeah.
Like, you know, and the guy's like, "I don't know." That's a weird scene.
And it also,
you
it
can
can't wait
Played
until
by
the next
Frederick
morning.
Lane.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he is a good actor.
But they have to get him out of bed, the Lamborghini
Right,
employee.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
weird.
feel like
Right.
it was a real show of like, this is how serious I am. I'm not even waiting. Like, let's do this now.
Yeah.
Lamborghini.
Yeah.
right. But I
Did you ever watch Lost, Demi? Because I know you
I
have.
did.
Yeah.
Well, the Wolf is played by the sheriff who arrested Kate. That's
Oh,
that guy.
the guy who dies in the pilot?
Yeah,
Wow.
Sheriff Mars. But he keeps coming back in the Kate episodes. He's always like,
Yeah.
"I'm here to arrest you." She's like, "No,
And we're like, you're not going to last.
buddy, don't get on that plane."
He's the real Bin Laden of that story.
Yeah, he is.
Doesn't make it to the end. No, but there's. I remember like the her writing the number of days on
That's right
Mark
at the
Strong's
end,
window.
right?
I remember that being
That's
like this
once they
thing
found the
throughout
building,
the whole movie,
right.
being like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
she's not giving up." And that's like a montage that lasts like 4 minutes.
It's just at the end.
I remember this movie having this real sense of propulsion to her persistence.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it feels like there are a lot of long stretches where she's kind of taking a back seat. And she's
Because-
there in the background looking on intensely and white knuckling it. But it's just kind of watching all the gears very slowly.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that part of her story is formless because nothing really is happening.
Right.
There's that scene where they're watching Obama's interview, but yeah, it's sort of
It feel,
nothing.
It felt like in theaters you were watching this woman who was like everyone else around her. She's like, we just got to give up, and she was like, no, we have to do this for the country.
Sure.
And in this one, it feels like everyone is focused enough, and then they feel like they hit a dead end. And they're like, well, we have to move on to other things. And
Right.
she's like, I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So it's just
There's that scene where she yells at Kyle Chandler, like somewhat maniacally.
Which is kind of great.
Yeah,
It's
she's
the-
good.
It's the Oscar reel scene.
It is definitely the Oscar
mean,
scene,
I-
along with the crying at the end. Yeah.
Yes. I love her in this because I think I really admire the fact that she doesn't try to play her like a conventional badass.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
That she
But
is.
there are these shots of her, man. Like there's that shot of her coming out of a tunnel where she's
Right.
all in shadow, and then like and she just looks like she's not doing anything weird. Like she's not like confident or anything.
Right, but there's
She
no
look- but,
posturing.
yeah.
It's just her intensity, which
Yeah.
is like very striking. But she's got this very high pitched voice. She's this very kind of delicate looking woman. You know, she is very vulnerable, but she's just like a fucking like she's locked in on what she
Yeah.
wants to do, which is kind of a great magic trick. Like it's just if you're that serious and focused in such serious situations, you don't have to act badass.
Yeah.
The context is badass.
What I will say though is like as much as they do the badass thing, I think there was a lot of stuff near the beginning where they would show the torture, then show her in the bathroom like I can't deal with this, and I was like, I don't think that really works after you show her just watching someone being tortured. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, which makes the protest of this movie is pro-torture even weirder, because you could argue the movie, in fact, failed trying too hard to disapprove of torture.
It was trying to be like, torture's hard on everyone, and it's like, not really.
No.
Right.
It's hard on everyone, Demi.
Both on...
There's two sides to this. Many sides.
Many
sides.
That's an old reference by the time this is out. But remember when
he did it again.
He brought it back.
No, it's someone else went out there and said Dr. Robotnik is great, and he defended him or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
He has the On Many Sides weekly show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On Trump TV.
Yeah. Look, I mean, a lot of people are saying General Snoke's a good guy. A lot of people I know, they like him. They like his big hologram throne.
Big hologram. He made the biggest one yet. Everyone's giving him a lot of compliments.
I'm a big fan. I love his work.
Big.
You know what's funny is by the time this comes out, people still hear that name and be like, we don't know anything about him yet.
Spoilers.
Shh, don't talk about Snoke.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Last Jedi is all Snoke, right?
It's all
it's got to be.
Yeah, Rian Johnson was like, I see what people liked about The Force Awakens.
Can I throw some Last Jedi spoilers out there?
Yeah, just do it.
The porgs kill Finn.
Yeah, that's what they do. They crawl inside his mouth and then his like blood vessels explode.
It's like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with the red ants.
Yeah. And a new Finn takes over, and it's just Poe putting on a hat. And you're like, oh, like Finn's hat. Which he had.
He takes the jacket back.
Yeah, he just puts, and we're like,
that.
we're like, wait, this doesn't work. That was your jacket. And he's like, nope, I'm Finn now.
But then the last part of the movie is really good,
right?
Very compelling, very well made,
right?
And I do feel like even this time when I was less into the movie, and certainly first time, you're like, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm locked in, right. This is just so.
She is one of the best living
visually
action
arresting,
directors, and she's one of the few people who knows how to make action unsettling.
And James Gandolfini unsettling.
Yes, certainly.
That's
no,
true.
but you know that thing of like, how
does he sit in that cafeteria chair? Like, you know, it's amazing. I love him.
Well, there's
him
a reason
so
we
much.
don't see him get up. I'm sorry, James.
We love you, James. You're the best. I really do love James Gandolfini.
By the time this is
so
out,
good
he's
in this.
back to life, so we have to be careful about
he's
what we
president
say.
now.
Oh, that's great. I just would love that.
I mean, we opened the portal for Osama, and James just slipped right out.
According to IMDb trivia, James Gandolfini sent a letter to Leon Panetta before the movie came out and said, I'm very sorry about everything. I apologize. You're like my father. So if you find something to be angry about, please let me know. He's like his father, apparently.
That's the part that concerns me. I'm like, why?
Why is he like your father? And then months later, Leon Panetta told Mark Bowl, I'd love Gandolfini's phone number to talk to him. And Gandolfini was like, he can't find me. He's the head of the CIA. I just read you an IMDb trivia.
That's funny.
That popped up on the X-ray when I was watching at the beginning.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do kind of agree with what I think you're getting at, David, though, which is when I saw this, I was like, an American epic, one that justifies the nearly 3-hour running time. It's an epic story that needs room to breathe. It's about living with her struggle for this long. Right. And I watched it this time, and I was like, you could cut an hour out in the middle.
Yes,
you could cut an hour. You could do the first chunk up to right about after Jennifer Ely's death, and then sort of go like 6 years later, and it's her meeting with Gandolfini, and they're close to getting
the mission up and running. 2 of the bombings.
God, you need those bombings.
You came to the table with another offer, and I'll say, yeah, let's keep the bombings.
They're like, Bigelow, can we just cut 2 of the bombings? And she's like, I just added another bombing because you told me to cut the bombing. I have an editor.
Anyone else have something to say? Anyone else want to add a bombing or 2?
Who's gonna get bombed? I don't know, but it's going.
You are
in.
Jennifer. Now you are. You're baking a fucking cake too.
You know the weirdest thing about Gandolfini in this movie is that it's not that far from his performance in The Loop.
No, not at all.
You know, he delivers the lines with the same kind of like reedy, tough guy kind of voice.
Well, there's this thing where like Leon Panetta famously like
he's a real salty man.
He's got a dirty mouth. Yes. This guy loves his cuss
words. He's a real
words.
motherfucker.
Yeah. Right. So he talks like a fucking Armando Iannucci character.
Sure, right.
Like he talks like Peter Capaldi in The Loop. And so like the movie's been like pretty straightforward in that sort of sense. You don't have a lot of funny dialogue. And then he enters and suddenly like he and Chastain are both saying like fuck a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. They're all like, Anyway, so
By
the
the way-
Tradecraft has suggested this. And he's like, yeah, is the fucking guy there or not? Yeah.
They drop like 3 weird cameos at the same, where it's like Mark Duplass
Mark
is here,
Duplass
and
suddenly
Mark
has a
Strong,
lot of exposition. Yeah, Mark
Yeah.
Strong.
and then fucking Gandolfini walks, and like the X-ray pops up at the beginning and reminded me that Gandolfini's in this movie. But the entire time I was like, when's he popping up?
Yeah.
And then he pops up, and I was like, wait, there are only like 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
And I know that the last part of this is the raid, and he's not in that.
Right.
So
he could have been, though.
he go,
He's the battering ram.
I smoked Ibrahim. Fucking got him.
I like that they say smoked. They don't say killed because I feel like that's like one of their words for not like getting too heavy.
That
you
was
know?
one of the things that sort of set me off about like, well, maybe this was how it is, but I have to imagine if you know the president's watching, are you going to be like, let's be professional?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Fuck that door. Blow it up. Yeah. You know.
I would love to hear Obama on this, like, smoke them, get them all,
That is the thing.
women and children
What
too.
if she had just cut to Obama like in a situation with a big cigar? Like she just done the most awful cameo possible.
Just like Photoshop the cigar out of the photo when you post this.
That is though like a reason why, you know, Bigelow is probably better at depicting the banality of like successes than horror
Yeah.
stories in a way.
Yes, I agree.
You know, like the argument like for this being good material for her and Detroit being
That's
bad
the
material
thing.
for her is that like what's kind of interesting is her taking like we won and depicting it with like the full banality of like, oh, these guys are bros and they're playing
Yes.
horseshoes and
Right.
they're just talking about it like it's Call of Duty.
You're hitting exactly on the nail. Whereas, right, in Detroit, she's like, these cops shot a bunch of black people for no reason.
It's like,
And
yes,
you're
we all
like,
agree that's
yeah,
bad.
Dude, bad. That's bad.
It's
And
like,
she's
yeah,
like,
okay.
there's not much ambiguity to it. And you're like, yeah, okay. She's
Thanks.
like,
Thank you.
thanks for being with me for 2.5 hours. I was Catherine Bigelow.
Well, and she's like really interested in like people just like doing their job, you know?
Yeah.
And so like that whole
Sure.
section is so fascinating because the raid is so well done on a technical level. Like the use of the night vision is really good and it's so
Yes.
fucking well edited. And it pretty much plays out in real time. Apparently the
It does.
actual raid
It
itself
plays
was
at
only-
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. It's like pretty much you're seeing the raid as it went down.
Those helicopters are scary too.
yeah.
Quiet.
I don't understand, like, from a story perspective, and maybe it's just something that happened in real life. She's like, it's very important. I get this down to the everything. I don't understand why one of the helicopters kind of crashed.
It did though.
In
Isn't
real
that-
life?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
That's what I assumed it had to be that, because I was like, there's no,
Yeah.
like, people don't, that doesn't alert them to anything. It just seems like a dramatic beat.
Right.
But-
They crashed one of the helicopters, which meant we had to blow it up on the way out, which was sort of
yeah.
like, it was kind of like got added to the to-do list. It's like kill Bin Laden, get all the hard drives. And now you have to blow up that
the secret
fucking
helicopter that people don't know
Yeah,
about.
there's like super stealthy helicopter that like makes no noises. Yeah.
I
and has like
couldn't-
DVDs in the seats or
I
whatever.
couldn't they're fucking watching Joe Dirt on the way there. On the
I
way
think
to
Joe
kill-
Dirt might be in SEAL Team 6. Is Joe Dirt one of the guys? Yeah.
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 Speed was a weird
That was
casting
Mike
call.
Coulter's character.
Yeah.
But just the idea of being inside the compound and not hearing a helicopter, I can't
Right.
imagine that, but also not hearing a helicopter that blows up. I'm just like, what? Just how quiet are these helicopters? I was just fascinated by that. It's not
They
important.
must be crazy quiet.
Yeah.
But I mean, they heard something because, but of course, they also blow the doors open. So I mean, like
Right.
now they're alerted in some way, but
Yeah.
there's not a lot of threat. I mean, like, who's on the? It's Joel Edgerton, Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
I think Mike
Taylor
Coulter's there.
Kinney, Mike Coulter is
Taylor
there,
Kinney
Frank
was there?
Grillo,
Yeah.
yes.
What?
Nash Edgerton too.
Taylor Kinney's the kind of sort of like handsome one who like gives a little light to
Oh, yeah.
the girl
Which-
to calm her down.
Which I remember, like, I didn't watch the trailer again after watching this, and I should have, but I remember seeing the trailer and having that moment in the trailer and being like, oh, okay, so we get to see some of their sympathetic moments with, like, the Arab people, and you're just, I realized, like, no, that was a
He's-
manipulation.
Yeah, right. He's just like, you need to be quiet.
It's
Here,
just
look,
on the
look.
job, like
Yeah.
getting shit done. Ferris, is that his name?
I'm not sure who you mean.
She's working with earlier in the movie.
Oh yes, Ferris. You're right.
I feel
yes.
like these are all people that went on to, like, have pretty big roles.
Yes.
in other
Yeah,
things.
because Edgar Ramirez pops up for like half a minute in that one weird scene.
Like even Grillo is like a big part
Yeah,
of the
right,
Marvel
right.
universe.
Yeah,
Freaking
yes.
Crossbones.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you fuck with Frank Grillo.
And I mean Edgerton, obviously, like Taylor. Yeah, all of these people. It's so weird that
Pratt's the most where you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And
that,
even Duplass, it was like, this was one of the first times
Duplass
that someone
is just weird.
had used
Duplass is the Topher Grace role here.
Yeah.
Well, when they announced that he was cast, because he was part of that first wave of announcements of like Edgerton, Rooney Mara,
Sure.
Duplass before the movie shut down and then was retooled. It was very strange because he hadn't done anything outside of his wheelhouse, and now he's been in like more different types of movies, other people's projects. It was like he was
so much to say in this
Right.
movie because he has to deliver all of the exposition about the house.
right, but at that point he was like just the League and his own movies and other
Sure.
mumblecore movies, and then he gets announced in this, and it's like the first time he's in a big studio movie, and it's like that's strange, and then he's sort of like in the background, like shadowing other guys,
Right.
and you're like, is this going to be his role? Is he just going to be the assistant? And then he's got that one scene where he like cracks the case,
Sure.
the case of the three women, you know?
Yeah. Right. He explains all of that. Right.
Yeah.
There were two moments in this movie that I was just like, oh, that feels like it should have been less expository. Which one of them was that, and one of them was when we spent this entire movie being like, Abdul Ahmed, we have to find Abu Ahmed, we have to find him. And then they're like, well, we can't find him. Maybe he's dead. And then someone's like, hey, he was in the files.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Who is that? Who just shows up? Fuck that actress.
Yeah,
she's another one where you're like, I know her.
yes.
Thank you for telling me.
It's the lady.
Yeah, I
But
looked her up
it
and I
was
forget
just-
already.
It's that famous actor.
It was just a moment where I was like,
Lady.
Chastain seems very uncaring about this, just off of the frustration of we should have gotten this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
right.
it seems like this was such a big thing. Why is it so casual? And why did you get like? And I know with all
Jessica
of these
Collins,
things,
yes.
I have to be like that's maybe how it happened in real life. But I'm always just like I feel like if you're making a movie, dramatize it a bit, but still.
Right. But again, right. That's her weakness and her strength, right? Where she's like, no, we're not going to put the finger on the scale. Like,
Yeah.
she just got handed a file and someone's like, hey, I found this. Oh, how'd you find it? I just looked.
We were looking
There's
at
a lot of
the
shit.
Yeah, we missed it.
Well, and
Yeah.
I remember being so dramatically affected by like her arc in the film. Not her arc, but just sort
Chastain.
of her emotional sort of like through line as a character.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the masterstroke of this movie, that it isn't just like a docudrama about, you know, all the different facets, that she chose to focus in on one woman who sort of made her life all about trying to crack this case, find this guy.
Right.
But then watching it again, it feels like she's just there for a lot of it. Like it has a little bit.
She definitely also recedes into the
Patriots Day
background
syndrome,
at moments.
you know, where it's like, oh, Mark Wahlberg just keeps being in the right rooms,
well,
even if
in
he's
Patriots
not the
Day,
one
it's
pushing.
a lot sillier.
Right. Because he's an entirely fake creation.
Well,
who
right,
is at
and they're also
literally
like the
every key
mayor, the
event.
governor, and they're like, "Hey, traffic cop guy, you were there, right? All right, you should be in this press conference." You know, like it's,
we've reassigned you to the shootout at the boat. Like he keeps on getting reassigned to where the
you've been
action's
deputized
happening.
in the Watertown PD. Report to J.K. Simmons at once.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do find the ending very effective.
I agree.
Yeah.
One, it is very well the shoot. And I also, again, it's like it's dispassionate. You don't even totally realize they killed Bin Laden at
That's
first.
the best. I think that's the best
When
part
she
of
has
it.
to
Just
look at
like
the body.
them not
Yeah.
realizing that
That's him.
Yeah.
Right. And
Right.
then they're like,
It's not-
oh.
Yeah, it's not this big triumphant moment where it's like we got him. They were just kind of like, oh my god.
They keep on going through the house and like
Yeah.
doing other shit.
They're like, yeah, you see. No, I guess that's him. Okay, take a picture with your digital camera.
And then they have her check the body, which I love because it's like that scene you see in movies all the time, in like crime movies,
right.
where it's like you have to see the body of your loved one that sets you off on this like course of revenge, this death wish kind of path. But this is like, well, we caught the guy that you've been trying to catch, and she has to look at him like, yeah, no, that's that guy I fucking hate.
I actually like that moment a lot.
Yeah, that's
though.
the guy whose face is very famous around the world.
Right. Bin Laden. That's I was really
Right,
sticking to my no, but I like that scene when they're like, it's a go, they're gonna go, and they do. She focuses on. She keeps the camera on Chastain as they're all leaving. Where you're like, right now, this woman who did all this work about this just gets to sit at a desk and watch it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I mean, like she's not gonna be there on.
I want to see the sequel called Zero Dark 30 something. It's just her trying to
How
live
will
out.
she figure out a life?
Exactly. It's just
Work.
Like, she's done so much work. Now she's got to be single and loving it.
Is this the secret TV show you're working on? Yeah, that's what it is. Zero Dark 30
30
something.
That's why I love Chastain.
That's a great fit for Freeform.
I think so. You get the military families that love Chastain.
Yes.
You get the kids that love 30 something.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
you're joking about this, but what I do like about the ending is it kind of the ending shot of this with her crying on the plane reminds me, and with especially it's a bit of a layup, but when the guy goes, so where are you going now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending,
Oh yeah, and she should be like, just take me home.
right.
Right, and John Braylock goes, motherfucker, I don't know where you live or whatever. Yes, yeah.
Braylock kills it.
Yeah.
The end of this movie reminds me of the end of The Graduate, where it's like,
Sure.
we did it,
What
we
now?
nailed it, and
Right.
it's like, what the fuck happens now? And she's crying not just because of all the emotions that she's like had pent up, everything she's placed on this one sort of mission, trying to find this one guy. That's what her
Dustin
life's
Hoffman,
about.
and now he's dead.
Right, she gets
Yes.
recruited out of high
Hoffman
school.
played Bin Laden, by the way. He did a great job.
But don't they say that she got recruited out of high school?
Yeah,
That
she
she's
says
like
that because that's the scene where
super
Panetta
genius?
sits down with her, and he's got like a pudding cup or whatever.
Right.
He doesn't. But
All great actors eat pudding.
He had a pudding cup.
And he's like, you've been doing this your whole life? And she's like, pretty much. Or like, you did anything else? And she's like, just this. And he's like, how'd we get you? Recruited me out of high school. And I think he's trying to figure out, like, is this person crazy and maniacally obsessed with this? And so she's just telling me what I need to hear.
But that's her character.
Or is she for real? Like,
she's
and
sort of
then
like
he
a
makes the
sniper
decision,
rifle.
like,
Right.
she's for real. She's
for real,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, there's that thing where he goes, "What do you think of her?" And Panetta's assistant goes, "Like, I think she's fucking smart." And he goes, "We're all smart."
That's a great line.
Great.
Mark
It
Bowl
really
doesn't
is.
always write great dialogue, but that's
Yeah.
a really good line.
That's a great
And also
exchange.
Gandolfini he loves it.
One thing sorry, you were going to say something. You
No,
go.
I just think it gets to the root of what makes that character interesting, which is like, this guy's at a loss, and he's like, I don't know, she's smart. And Gandolfini's like, we're all smart. What the fuck are you talking about? But it's like, but there's some weird X factor to her.
Sure.
Like, she
Yes.
walks into a room, and she's not the most powerful person. She's not the loudest person. She's not the oldest person. She's not the most physically
is.
intimidating
It's because
person.
she's the woman.
There is that.
And they're all like, something about her smarts
Yeah.
seems different than ours.
But everyone just kind of like eventually bends to her. Like, even all these like superiors who are like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Eventually you're like, okay, it's a go.
There's
Maya, do what you want.
there's some like weird movie convention that I struggle with all the time because I feel like I like it in a sense of like it gets to a thing that I'm not like I'm supposed to not like it because it makes no sense. But just the idea of like whenever someone is doubted, people who are their entire job is to play things by the book. They take the risk and go like, all right, and they're just they're like, I don't know about this, but you seem confident, and I trust you for reasons I can't explain. So you go ahead. And when someone is like the head of the CIA does it with something this big, I feel like I want them to have a better reason. Like I want them to see the work they're going through or something, and just be like, this is pretty well thought out. So you're sure about this?
You did your
All right.
homework on this. You
Yeah,
made a diorama of his house. Very nice, by the way.
You made up all the plans of the exact Marvel characters that we're gonna get to play the soldiers.
Interesting choice of Darkhawk. I didn't realize he was going to be in this one, but okay.
Mike Coulter. Okay. All right.
But
just that sort of convention, I feel like from a standpoint of like as someone who likes watching movies, I'm always just like it's so fun, show me more of that, but just the writing sense of it, I'm just kind of like don't like make it more plausible.
Sure, and they keep on going like, well, there's no way we can really confirm. Like, we got to take a flyer on this one.
Right.
Like, their argument is always like, pretty good chance, but we don't know. It's probably someone in there, but
Which is also like a weird tension point that they try to make that doesn't work as a world that knows that they've got him.
Right. We're not going to know if it's Bin Laden or not until we kill him.
Right.
Is like essentially the flyer that they're asking.
sure. And I think I guess that's part of it because, right, they didn't know.
Right.
And, Joe Biden was like, let's not do it. This is a bad idea.
Right.
And Obama was like, yeah, we're going to do it.
And then he went out and fucking crushed his JFL audition. That was the same night that
True.
he gave
He
the
was
order.
he was
If I don't do this now, then I got to do it when some other stuff is happening, and I need one really good win.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the movie.
It's weird. I wonder now watching it with some distance if the movie would hold up better or worse if it had been made before we caught Bin Laden. If she had made the original version she wanted to make with just about the frustration of not being able to find this guy.
I kind of wish that she had still gone ahead and made that, just because I feel like it's like if we caught the Zodiac killer in 2007, like they aren't going to rewrite Zodiac. I think the movie should be about
Old Gyllenhaal. I got him.
he was back. He was downstairs. Just like I feel like the more interesting thing of a movie is not basing it around an event that everyone knows and just be like, here's how we got to the event. It should be about like I think the most interesting war movies are always ones where it's like, if you didn't know about this event, here's what happened. Or if you do know about this event, here's one slice of it that is such an important thing. Like, we can even just have, we got him in the fucking, like, end credit card or something. Like, that's not the important part of the movie. Although I think if they do focus it on Maya, then that relief of, like, we got him, this is an end of a period of my life is important.
Right.
But
right now she eats ice cream in her PJs on this couch and watches sitcoms.
Right. But the Maya character, it felt like was working on that level. Like, in my mind, I was like, the thing that elevates this movie is it really works as a character piece.
Yes.
And she's just in the middle of this big, like, kind of historical story.
And you're saying you feel less that way now?
Really, Osama bin Laden is a MacGuffin here.
Right.
That's right.
I kind of feel less that way just because
He's
feel
the glowing
like
suitcase of this movie. Yes.
we as the audience are bringing less to the table in watching this movie now. You know, I feel like having lived through all of it, having it be so recent, everyone was coming into the movie already feeling a little bit of Maya in them in one way or another.
Right.
Whether or not they had bloodlust, there was that little sense of like, yeah, that was frustrating, you know? And now it's just kind of like, I don't know, we fucking elected Donald Trump. Like,
yeah, I feel like we've come to it at a different point of view. Just like there's a certain like wokeness around Muslim representation too. So just watching this entire movie and being like, so 5 years ago, huh? It was just
really just 5.
Just 5.
Wow.
Yeah, because this is like the kind of movie that would make people want to support the travel ban if they were dumb and they watched it the wrong way.
Yes, I think at the end when they say the forgotten country thing, I also came to this point of like, oh, that's like the declarative like statement at the end of like a sequence of events like this. That's what it's about. Okay.
Yeah.
And you just have this moment where you have to be like, this is very jingoistic, isn't it? But I still was like, I'm still all in. I still support this woman in her quest.
Sure.
It just seems a little bit more vengeful and foolish now. Even though it worked.
You're right. I mean,
guess
yeah,
the
I
question
think you're
for
right.
me is like, I wonder if 5 years from now this movie will play even differently than it does now.
Well, 5 years from now, it's going to be good again.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
It'll be
my
A
thought.
plus Dark 30
Right,
again.
right.
Yeah.
I
Zero
wonder
Dark
if this
A+,
movie is this kind of mood ring for where we are politically, like how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah, this is the wrong time to be watching Zero Dark 30. And I'm
agree.
sorry that we did it. No,
Next
I'm happy we did it.
Detroit, a movie it's the right time to watch.
Yeah, no better time for Detroit.
And this is the thing. We're probably going to record that episode a while from now.
Correct.
Maybe a little while from now.
You know,
I don't
I can't imagine a scenario in which when you guys release this, it's just going to be the week that something terrible happened, and then it's going to be like, come listen to us talk about Detroit and Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, no. No, thanks.
No.
Yeah. Hey, that's why we needed an all-star guest like you.
Yeah. People be like, the guy who did Gilmore Girls? Yeah, that's the mood I'm in
I think there's a lot of overlap between Gilmore Girls fans and Zero Dark 30 fans.
They call themselves Gilly's Suits.
Can we play the box office game?
So we play this game where I try to guess the box office the week the movie came out because I'm a freak. I have a computer brain and I memorize box office stats.
This is part of the hacker look that you have.
Yes, right. A homeless computer hacker who only knows box office.
You got grift.
Now, I have two things I want to point out.
Okay.
One, this movie made $95 million domestic
Her
on a
biggest
$40 million budget.
Far and away big hit.
132 worldwide. So wasn't a big player internationally.
Sure.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Came out December 19th, 2012.
And this was kind of the year where Annapurna really like rose up and they crested this year. The cherry on top was like a genuine box office success.
Yeah.
But do you want me to do the limited release or do you want me to do the week it went wide?
I want to do the wide week and then maybe you can fill me in on the limited. But the wide week was in January, right?
January 11th, 2013.
Now, can I throw out a stat that I remember from the week after this?
Oh, gee, okay.
I
He's
think so.
really showing
I
off.
think Zero Dark 30 is number one for 2 weeks in a row in limited release. But then after that,
No, it was never number one in limited release.
I'm saying, sorry. Once it goes wide, I think it was number one for, okay.
Just 1 week.
It was then usurped by
Ringo.
Mama.
Chastain herself.
Oh, you're right.
Holy shit.
And now that guy's made It.
Yes.
About the clown.
Which at the time.
That mean old clown.
At the time that we're recording this episode today.
Right.
I'm dead because I saw it and it spooked me too much.
Spooky.
Demi was
Demi's like,
spooked to death. Even if they just said the title, Carl realized, like, my heart. But you were saying at the time.
Right now, I realize I've been saying it's the beginning of September. It's actually the end of August, but who gives a shit? Today or in the last couple of days, Collider posted an article about well, if they make the It sequel where the kids grow up, fan casting, who should play the kids?
You got fan cast as
They
one of them
fan-casted
nerds.
Are
They
you,
wanted you.
Are you playing an older Finn Wolfhard? Or
I'm not. I forget which kid it is. It's like
it's
the
one of those
lowest
things where I
ranking
was
of the
like,
kids.
You're
they
the
would
clown
show the
now.
picture of the little nerdy kid, and I'd be like, oh, they picked Griffin for this one. And then I'd keep, no, because they all kind of are little
I
nerdy
look
kids.
like all of them now. The problem is I don't look like I've aged enough past any of those
Well,
kids.
and also they had you with like Christian Bale and Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
It was
the
weird.
ages were all
You
over
were
the
the one
place.
where they were like, curveball,
Right,
like because
right.
they picked like the most obvious
They said
actors.
it
in
might
the
sound like a
world.
weird choice.
we need a horny Rob in it.
Let's save him from the fate of Michael Zorich.
Yeah.
So this movie
Okay, yes.
opens January, goes wide January
Mhm.
11th. So it jumps 806% from number 16 to number 1,
Right.
Wow.
having added like 2,800 theaters. Number 2,
It does like 20.
And being just before the inauguration.
that's
The
like
inauguration.
just before.
Yeah.
And right before the nomination, so everyone was like, oh man, it's going to fucking sweep with that kind of box
Yeah.
office success.
Sure, it was actually a surprise hit, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like to some, because people are like, does anyone want to see this?
Yeah.
Number 2 is it's a comedy. It's a spoof film.
Is this
Date
spoof and a
movie.
goof? Or
It's
just
a
a spoof?
It's definitely a spoof in the goof. It's in the date movie wheelhouse.
Oh no.
But it's by, I would say, one of the sort of bedrock auteur
I think I know exactly what movie it
actors
is. Let
of
me ask you a
this.
question. Did we ever laugh for 2 consecutive minutes looking at the poster for this movie?
I think we might have.
Did you, Bobby Finger, and I once laugh for 2 consecutive minutes
Wait a
looking at the
second.
poster for this movie?
I don't remember.
Is it a haunted house?
Yes.
Yes. The
Oh my
answer
God.
then is yes.
Wait, what?
Why
now
did
I
you
want to
laugh
know
at the
why were we
poster?
laughing for so long? I
I
have to
want to
look
see
it
this
up.
poster.
It's a
That's
specific
when me
one.
and
I have
Bobby
to
Finger
find-
just went through like every poster of
we went
that
through all the
year.
posters of that year.
Yeah.
Because it was like a website that was voting on the best poster
Yeah, it was
of the
like
year.
Imp Awards or whatever.
And
yeah.
we got to that one and we laughed for 2 straight minutes.
Is it the one where he
Why?
has a boner?
It's not. I will find it.
Which one is
I will
it?
find
This
the
is-
poster and I
okay.
will describe it and we'll get your reaction on
Are
my.
you sure? Here's my question.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't a Haunted House 2?
When did Haunted House 2 come out?
Probably more around when we were doing this, 2014. Like, are you sure?
You're right. It is a Haunted House 2 because I found the poster and I started laughing. And there's no poster for Haunted House 1 that got that reaction out of me.
Boy.
Okay. Let me,
Okay, I'm very curious. Wait, no, a haunted house is the
Please show me.
what?
Please show me.
okay, I'm going to show it to Ben
Wait, is
first.
that
I want to build up suspense.
Yes, I think I remember.
That's good.
Is it the Conjuring spoof? Yes, yes.
It's Marlon Wayans in a tire swing looking really happy.
That got you.
Oh my
Yeah.
Did you go
god.
see a haunted house too?
I
because
did
of
not.
that?
I did not.
Oh
I heard it wasn't as
God.
good as the poster.
I mean, what
How,
movie
how
is?
could it be?
How could it ever be?
It was a Haunted House 1 though. So that Haunted House 2 comes out only a year later. So
Yeah, they
he
rushed
was
it.
churning them.
They rushed it, and Haunted House 2 didn't do as well.
But Haunted House 1 opened to $18 million. Very healthy.
Yeah.
I'm sure its budget was 2.5. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Number 3 is a movie that was supposed to be like a prestige movie, also opening this week, that got pushed. Like I just pushed my phone,
Okay.
like into January after it timed with the news in a really bad way. Like it lined up with a horrifying news event.
12. What happened?
It was really weird that you would never think this movie would line up with a horrifying
But
news
it was
event.
meant to be like an Oscar thing.
It was kind of originally intended. It's also like it's like a crime movie, so like it was also supposed to be just a big thing. But like they thought it was going to be an Oscar play. It had an all-star cast.
Max Payne.
Exactly.
I knew it. As soon as you said it lined up with a bad thing, I was like, I remember. Because
Yeah.
Max Payne.
that armed
the game.
robbery of a GameStop.
Yeah.
It's got an all-star
Remember
cast.
in the game? Have you played the game when you walk across the line of blood
Yeah.
forever and it's really annoying?
I don't remember the line of blood thing, but I just remember like it slowed down at times. I'd be like, well, this seems like an unnecessary mechanic.
It slows down when you take painkillers.
yeah.
That's
Max
the
Payne's
gimmick
super
of the
cool.
game.
Yeah, really
Okay, wait.
cool guy.
I didn't
All-star
see the
cast, big director.
No,
No one
don't.
did. Yeah.
Kind of a bit. No, up and coming director.
Kind director.
He had a hit.
It
It has the stupidest title you ever did hear.
Boy, and it got no nominations. It
No
totally belly flopped there.
nominations for this one. No, thank you. But it was also pushed because it had this scene that uncomfortably mimicked something that had just happened.
Oh,
he knows what it is.
Oh, right. The weirdest push of all time. The movie is Gangster Squad.
That's right, Gangster Squad.
Yes, I remember now.
And they had that scene in the trailer where they break through the movie screen shooting Tommy guns, and that trailer played before The Dark Knight after there was the shooting.
And they were like, oh, forget it. Sorry.
That was the only thing keeping Gangster Squad from such success.
Gangster Squad. What if there was a squad of gangsters?
Now, hold on. I've seen The Gangster before. There's Goodfellas, but you mean like 2?
2 or more.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Could Ryan Baby Goose Gosling be one of the gangsters?
Please.
Okay.
Gangster Squad was kind of the original Suicide Squad, was it not?
It was.
Right. Well, they weren't twisted. That's the difference.
Well, Sean Penn was pretty twisted.
He really is.
Yeah.
Twisted. Emma Stone's in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giovanni Ribisi, Anthony Mackie. It's got a hot cast.
It's one of my favorite character posters because I love when movies are overzealous with character
Gully
posters
McGrath.
and give them to characters that don't deserve them. The Gangster Squad ones, it's like Josh Brolin with a Tommy gun.
Yeah.
Like fucking Sean Penn, like boxing somebody. And then there's a Giovanni Ribisi one where he's just got headphones on and he's like listening.
I've got it for you right here.
Oh, yeah.
He's just listening.
Anthony Mackie made it to the background of this one.
They're tapping someone's phone call.
The thing is, the style, the look of this movie is so good, but the movie is so bad. I feel like this is the point at which I was just like, no, I don't think I can, like, Ruben Fleischer movies, I don't think I support. Like, I even with Zombieland, I was like, am I the only one that I thought was on the fence about this? But
yeah, that movie's fun.
You got 2 character posters.
Oh, that one's just him looking at film.
This is great. What is his role is it just this? He works in an office?
He's the archivist?
Hey, guys, got some Gangster Squad news for you. Robert Patrick got his own.
He looks like he's eating the cigar. He looks like they caught him mid-swallowing the cigar, and they were like, don't take the photo yet.
Is there a Nolte one?
You bet your ass there is. Is he the commissioner or something?
That looks like Josh Brolin in makeup.
Hey, Nick Nolte,
he actually was. That actually is what Josh Brolin is.
Nick Nolte, can we get you doing like a fun kind of pose? Because we got like Giovanni looking at the film. No, you're going to get me looking straight ahead at the camera.
This is all you get.
Okay, can we get a smile or something? You got 2 seconds. Snap away.
Can we get the photo
I love your Nolte.
Thank you.
Can we get the photo of Ryan Gosling on a tire swing outside of the police station?
That's Gangster Squad 2.
Right, my
That's
bad.
Gangster Squad 2.
Oh, boy.
Which also got pushed because it timed
Peña's in this
terribly
one,
with-
too. Wow, a lot of people.
Cast.
This is a David Ayer movie?
Gangster Squad. Yeah, see.
And is that number 4 or number 5?
That was number 3, my friend.
Oh,
number
wow, okay.
4 is well, it's a part of another list I want to go through with you, which is Box Office Mojo's list Controversy, which Zero Dark 30 is number 11 in. Can't wait to take you through that list. The Box Office Mojo has a helpful description, one word, of every movie's controversy.
What the controversy is? Okay.
Anyway, so this was a controversial movie of the year of 2012. It was nominated for Best Picture. It won 2 Oscars.
For screenwriting and
You got one of them.
art direction.
Nope.
So it wasn't Argo.
Sound.
Nope.
Editing.
Nope.
Wait.
Think bigger. No, I'm not talking about Zero Dark 30. I'm talking about this movie that
It
we
won
have not
screenplay.
named. One screenplay.
And it won an acting award?
And won an acting
Wait
award.
a minute.
Hang on a second.
I'm in the wrong year because I was just like,
Oh,
it was the Social Network.
Oh,
No, that's a couple years
it won
earlier.
Best Supporting Actor.
Correct.
It is Django Unchained.
Yep.
Oh.
A Quentin Tarantino picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
2-reeler. Which has made $125 million in 3 weeks.
That's
it was a
his
huge hit.
biggest hit. Yeah.
And then number 5 is a musical.
Les Mis?
Yeah. Les
Dream to
Mis.
Dream. Yeah.
Yeah, they all
It's
did.
all of those. I'm just like, I can't believe there were multiple companies like, this is our Christmas movie this year. This is the family. The families are either coming out to see Django or Zero Dark 30.
Christmas
Or
was really
Les Mis.
fucking rough that year. Like
That was
even
a
the
rough
musical
Christmas.
was like the musical about like
Yeah, the saddest musical.
Yeah, revolution and prostitutes dying. And,
Right,
Yeah.
right,
God.
right. Being
You gotta watch
penalized
Russell
for
Crowe sing.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that. Oh, Russell Crowe just being tortured on screen.
Yeah.
He looks like in so much pain when he's singing.
6,
Probably
4,
was.
3, 2, 1.
It's 24601.
Oh fuck.
Damn.
Sorry.
The Hobbit.
I know one thing about Les Mis, and that's it. Oh, was The Hobbit this year too?
Hobbit won An Unexpected Journey
Yeah.
is hanging out. Lincoln's hanging out. Parental Guidance, what's that?
That was Billy Crystal and Bette Midler.
Oh,
I was thinking it was
God.
Admission with Paul Rudd and Tina Fey.
No.
that's right around there.
That comes right around
It's
there.
It's
coming.
a weird movie.
Parental Guidance was like Billy Crystal hadn't done a movie in like 8 years and was like, I wrote a screenplay about me taking care of my grandkids. And he had like, when he would show up at like the Oscars and stuff, he was like now clearly like gray hair, salt and pepper beard, was like looking older. And then this movie comes out where he plays a grandpa, dyed his hair jet black, new facelift, shaved the beard, looks 20 years younger in an artificial way. And it's like, dude, you wrote a grandpa movie for yourself? You wouldn't let yourself look like a fucking grandpa?
My favorite thing is that number 9 at the box office is Texas Chainsaw 3D, which I don't remember.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah.
The Saw, I guess, comes.
Yeah, the Saw comes
Yeah,
out.
the screen.
I assume.
It
He
was
throws
feel the
on-
leather.
on your face.
it was number 1 the week before. It dropped to number 9. Dropped 75%.
Yeah.
Well, it also happened just after that unfortunate chainsawing massacre. in
It's true. Where the
Texas.
chainsaw came out of the screen,
Yeah.
it was a giant chainsaw.
That was rough.
But they didn't push it back.
They didn't.
Let me take you through the most controversial movies ever made, according to Box Office Mojo. Number 1, by success.
Sure.
Number 1, Passion of the Christ,
Yeah.
brackets, anti-Semitism.
Okay.
Number 2, The Da Vinci Code, brackets, anti-Christian? Is this really an
pro-Semitism.
issue?
Yeah. I remember the controversy being is bad.
Yeah, right.
That was but they got over the controversy of the first one. They're like, all right, but watch it. And then they did 2 more and it's like, well, these are offensive in a different way.
Muddled storytelling?
Number 3, The Day After Tomorrow, brackets, global warming. I guess so.
Yeah,
They're
real
like, don't
firebrand
make up
movies.
things. And they're like, oh, we didn't. Oh.
Number 4, Django Unchained, brackets, and really, thanks for this, Box Office Mojo, N-word. Wait, that's what they wrote.
Ooh.
Now, they wrote N-word, to be clear.
Ooh.
Oh, God. Number 5, True Lies, anti-Arab.
Yeah.
And then Angels and Demons, also anti-Christian, apparently.
I feel like we didn't care by that point.
Oh,
They'd already
yeah.
done it.
We're getting to the best one. Number 7, Fahrenheit 9/11, anti-Bush, sure. Number 8, Basic Instinct. Brackets.
Anti-Bush.
Brackets.
You
Pro-Bush.
served that one to
I
me.
did. I alley-ooped you. No.
You're
brackets.
right. You're right. Good, nice pass. It should have been pro-Bush instead of anti-Bush. If I was a writer for The Good Place, I would have come up with that.
Brackets, Vagina Flash. And brackets.
Vagina Flash.
That's how they describe it.
That's my favorite Rolling Stones song.
Also, that wasn't the controversy. Wasn't the controversy for that movie that everyone thought it was anti-gay?
I died. Was it? I don't know. Really?
That was
It's
like a controversy
horrifying
at the
rape
time.
scene. It's a barrel among.
I don't think anyone was
just completely
protesting the vagina.
can of
in
worms.
that
Here's
movie.
what I'll
Yeah.
say. I've never seen Basic Instinct, and pretty much my entire knowledge of it, besides the character of Sharon Stone, is there's a vagina flash.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Is
Yes.
brackets vagina flash.
Yeah, right.
It's a gas.
And they've also some weird ones. Brokeback Mountain, gay cowboys, barbershop, anti-black leaders because they like make fun of Rosa Parks. I don't know if that counts.
No, that's not Barbershop. Yeah.
Come on.
I feel like when you're typing this and you have to say, is Barbershop anti-black? Maybe just go like, I'm probably wrong.
Garfield the movie, anti-Odie.
like
That's
number
true.
25 is Powder, brackets, child molester director.
Yeah.
right. These are very
like
Yeah.
these are there are levels here that we
They're
have to
playing fast and
acknowledge.
loose
I
with
want
the
them-
idea of controversy.
I want them to reorder this in terms of like
How
controversy.
controversial.
Yeah. It's like, well, Powder's 2 now. And number 1 is the other movies by Victor Salva,
Right.
including the entire Jeepers Creepers trilogy.
And then number 42, sorry, is the Brown Bunny, brackets, oral sex climax. Who
Yeah.
wrote this list? I want to interview him.
Yeah.
And just let's figure out what's happening.
The
in
guy
his
who
life.
pitched all of these ideas is just like, I'm going to keep tabs, but I want them official.
All right. Anyway, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay.
That was an extra long box office game.
Well, this has been our episode on Zero Dark 30. The
Zero
titular-
Dark City.
Oh, no, because we didn't go with that.
No, it's not the titular.
Right, it's not.
Speaking of which, I remember thinking I don't get it around the time the movie came out, but I've forgotten. What does Zero Dark 30 even mean?
It literally just means it's like army slang for like half past midnight, but it really just means like the worst time.
Like late
Okay.
at
In
late
the
at
dark
night.
at night.
Dark
Yeah,
at
it's
night.
like
Yeah.
when's this mission? Zero Dark 30. Like it's not like some official military term.
It's
That's
kind of like a midnight raid thing.
I always
Yeah.
think of the Megan Amram tweet.
What was her tweet?
You know, I like my men like I like my zero dark and 30. That's a good tweet.
It's a great tweet.
That's a great tweet. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed talking about this movie that I only kind of enjoed.
I'm very glad that you were here to talk about this movie.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm very glad to have you on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time with that one.
You still haven't seen it, you said?
I still haven't seen it. As of this recording, I still have not seen it. I probably will see it in the next couple days.
Are you going to go see it in the theater?
From
yeah, it's going to be gone soon. It's going to Valerian itself right out of the theaters. Yeah.
I wanted to see Valerian, and then as soon as it stopped playing in 3D, I was like, maybe I'll miss this one.
Yeah, you got to see it in 3D.
Yeah.
It is excellent in 3D. That is true.
Yeah. I have issues with that movie, but it is...
I have an issue with that movie, too, which is how much I loved it.
No one I've heard, everyone's like, don't go see it. It's bad. And I was like, sorry, I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
I'm the one.
The second I saw the trailer with Gangster's Paradise in it, I was like, this movie could be a 0% and I'm in it. So I'll be paying $14 for that on iTunes.
Well, I'm going to own it on Blu-ray the first second they let me. So come over to my house anytime.
You're going to be camped out at Best Buy, and they're like, no one does this anymore.
Fine. We'll send it to you.
Have you checked? Like, do you have the most positive review on Metacritic for that movie?
I don't know. I might. I mean, I unabashedly, it will be in my top 10 of the year.
You gave it like a 96?
Sure. I mean, Atlantic doesn't rate out of 100.
But for this, you did. You're like, forget the letter system. We're numbers now.
Yeah, exactly. 9.9, baby.
Yeah. 9.9, baby.
No, I really do love that movie.
I like some of it. We'll talk about it someday.
When you do the films of Luc Besson.
Damn right we will.
Yes.
Except we're not going to do all those weird French cartoons he made.
Arthur and the Minimoys? We're not going to do all three of those? The Minimoys trilogy?
Yeah, he made 3, and we're not going to do them.
That's weird. You don't want to hemorrhage listeners?
I really just want to, like Debbie was saying, just no everyone's reaction universally.
Nope. Well, Demi, anything you want to plug? People should watch the show that you can't talk about working on.
Yeah, just watch every show on Freeform that comes out next year.
Cool.
Watch The Good Place if you haven't already. It's on Netflix, and by the time this is out, season 2 is on, which I didn't write on, but still I don't know about. So I presume it can only be better because I have a surprise for me now. But yeah, and check out Gilmore Guys if you like Gilmore Girls and have 400 hours to spare.
And Good Place is on Netflix now. It's streaming now, so it's much easier to watch.
It's the best show, and
it was a delight to work on.
If I can fan out to you for a second with a question I have to ask.
Of course.
Been a big follower of your work for years.
Thank you.
Love everything you do. You were the one person who was single-handedly justifying keeping Vine going for me. It was
and then I stopped, and they're like, "Okay, shut it down."
But I would still check every 6 months to be like, "Has he done a couple in the last couple of months?" Do you have those saved anywhere, or your Vines lost to the sands of time?
I do have them saved. Initially, I was just going to let them go, but people kept messaging me, being like, "Hey, I hope you saved those," and I was like, "Okay." So I have them on a computer. But...
So good. So you're working on the Criterion set.
Please, can there be, or at least
Wes Anderson and I are doing a double pack.
It's a 4K restoration
of me just doing Oscar Vines.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite when you would do the Oscar song nominees.
The whole Oscar stories I really love those.
Thank you. Those are always fun, which is why I started doing the Will Smith thing when Vine died. But yeah.
So the Will Smith thing's been really good.
Thing's amazing.
But so you used to have to.
Oh man, what if Will Smith did a Zero Dark 30 song? Now I'm thinking about that.
Woo!
For those Oscar ones, you had to create videos with graphics.
Yeah.
Then transfer those videos onto your TV and then film the TV as if it was being broadcast live. Right?
Yes.
That was the beauty of it, is you put so much fucking work into your Vines, knowing that there was no room for post-production. It was like the amount of pre-production Demi does on all these 7-second videos is insane.
I feel like in some ways, to me, that always added to it, because it's like, if I just put the video up, then that's fine. But just the level of faking it to the point where it's obviously it's fake, but I think there's an added layer of joke to why did you do that much work that I always think is funny.
This took a weekend. Too. Yes. Yeah. No, that was the ultimate joke. And now you have the final laugh.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Because you killed Vine.
That's right.
You drove a stake into a tart.
Yes.
And then you came on to Blank Check with Griffin and David.
That's right.
And we talked about Zero Dark 30.
We did. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
David's
just sort of
holding his arms out like,
right.
Come on.
And please eulogize me in November when this is out and I've died from it.
We will.
Oh, God. Yeah. It was a good way to go.
I'll eulogize you when I'm in it, too. I'll eulogize you in character.
Just all you have to do is just mention Will Smith once, and I'll from hell, down with Osama and Gandolfini. I'll be like, that's my
Right. It Too, which will have a cast of the grown-up losers who are all definitely the same age. It'll be me, Christian Bale, Kirk
Next
Douglas.
on Sido.
We both were rushing to try to get to
God damn it.
The thing is, I was about to be like Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah, right.
That was the next way to go, was that I was going to do an old guy and then a young teenage girl.
And then also Finn Wolfhard as an older version of one of the other characters.
Yeah, he plays the girl. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank y'all for listening.
Yeah.
Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Go to blankies.reddit.com for some real nerdy shit. Thanks to Ange Fergudo for our social media. Thanks to Pat Reynolds and Joe Bowen for our artwork. Lane Montgomery for our theme song. And as always, I forgot to introduce Ben.
Shit, we did. Are you mad, Ben?
I'm fine.
Okay, all right.
Done it fucking
We've done
100,
it so many goddamn times.
20, 30
Edit
goddamn
in one of the
times.
other intros.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
do that.
edit that out.
Yeah, drop it in now.
Remember to do this, Ben, in a couple months.
It's a real Bill and Ted moment.